last week, our characters had found a safer place to stay, also a much cleaner place to stay. They had been offered to stay on a boat in the Crow's Foot district. There was some strangeness that happened between the characters and a person that they knew, a good friend of Martin by the name of Mercy, and also sort of a begrudging friend of Blinders. They were offered this place to stay by an organization known as the Red Sashes. They were given the night to stay there, a place that was, as I had said, much cleaner and much safer than their previous place they had been squatting, basically, in the night market district. And so they decided to take them up on the offer. They stayed in the boat overnight, and the next morning they had many conversations regarding what they would do in the future, how they would work together, what sort of jobs they might be interested in seeking out. They had also been given an opportunity by the Red Sashes, by a person who goes by the name of Madame Rowan, who seemed to be some sort of leader of a branch of the Red Sashes, a lieutenant, they might have heard. Her right-hand man, Malone LaRoche, had been sort of the mouthpiece of Madame Rowan, acting as her messenger. So last week, our characters had been given the opportunity to take the job. In time and debate, they decided that they would. The job, they were told, was to find a shipment in the Crow's Foot district. The shipment was supposed to be destroyed or stolen or kept, if they so choose. But the hardest part was that the Red Sashes said they would not be able to offer them any help themselves because they didn't want to have any sort of involvement or tie to the job at all. So they leave the characters to their own devices. They were also told that if they successfully completed the mission and sold the shipment back to the Red Sashes, that they would be given a bonus. And of course, they would also be given a bonus if they made sure that some sort of misdirection was used to confuse their foes, as Malone LaRoche had said. And so with that, our characters had decided that they would accept the job, had discussed the ways they might go about it. And we open our game this evening in the mid-afternoon. The morning had passed, as we saw last week, and our characters find themselves deep in Crow's Foot, in the warehouse district, which is very, very large. Crow's Foot, as I had explained before, is a melting pot of cultures. It is a place where the crime, as you see in many other districts, runs rampant, sometimes in the street. It is a combination of the Silk Shore with its vice, its casinos, its drinking, its partying. It's a combination of the other districts of work and labor force, as well as the docks, having one of the largest, having a connection to one of the largest canals through the city of Duskfall. And so with this, they find themselves moving through the busy streets. They had arrived at the area, which is rather large, and had been poking around for a time, asking questions to those they could ask questions to, trying to figure out where they might find that information regarding the whereabouts of the specific cargo that they're looking for. And we find our characters now currently in an alleyway. They've taken someone aside for a moment. Reaper and Martin stand nearby, keeping watch. Carver is probably, I presume, much closer to the person engaging in a conversation. And Blinder, as always, is probably deep in his own paranoia, looking around and making sure to watch the backs of his, begrudging companions. The man that they found was a man by the name of Oliver Stoker. He is a worker in this area. And they'd heard from a person who heard from a person that Oliver Stoker was a foreman in some of these warehouses, oversaw shipments coming into and out of a few of them, and that perhaps he might be an individual that could provide them with the information they wanted. They took him aside, asking if they could have a moment of his time. They would make it worth his while. And that's where we find ourselves. So, you said you wanted to have a conversation? I think we're by ourselves now. What would you like to say?
We were wondering about patrols around these areas, around the warehouses in specific. Any certain safety protocols that we may have to look for, and we can make it worth your while if we get some good information.
Well, I'm familiar with such work. I'm aware of the general security details that go on around here. But is there something you're more specifically looking for?
I'm looking for a window of opportunity.
Well, that would depend on the specific area of warehouses you're going into, you see. There's a lot of places with a lot of people who keep eyes on their goods. It sort of depends on which warehouse you're talking about. Some of them owned by different groups. Some of them looked after by the ministry. So it really depends. I mean, the places I look after, pretty small time. We don't have any super serious security or anything like that. We just have the members of the labor force keeping an eye while they're working. A few people at night, nothing too intense.
So what about Warehouse X? Do we know which warehouse it is out of character?
No, you don't
We
know
don't
yet.
know. Okay.
You haven't found that piece of the puzzle yet. That's basically what you're looking for right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're looking for what size of shipment are we looking for? Medium or large?
You're unsure.
I'm not. Go ahead.
Soul jars. We were looking for soul jars, right? So,
Yes.
Do I have any idea about how large those may be, or we get a quantity of soul jars, or just said soul jars?
It was a shipment of soul jars, is what you were told. The exact quantity of how much was going to be part of that shipment was never mentioned. And you would know personally, Blinder, at least from your experiences and conversations, and perhaps even Carver would know a bit of this as well, because of the cultural superstitions and things of that surrounding soul jars. That soul jars sort of come in all shapes and sizes, but mostly they're nothing bigger than what you would presume a mason jar, like a very large mason jar would be. They're not going to be massive containers or anything like that individually, but there might be a great number of them being held in boxes, lined with straw in order to keep the glass safe from breaking, or whatever they might be made of. Some of them potentially made of ceramics, things of that variety.
Okay. That's all I want to know.
Okay.
So I believe what we're looking for is probably in the medium to high security area. I don't think ministry levels of security is what we're looking for.
Do you know who it is that owns the area you're looking for? I mean, a name might help. Maybe the owner of the warehouse or something like that.
I'll look over at Blinder.
I believe we are looking for a territory that's controlled by or protected by the lamp blacks.
Okay. I think I've heard of them. I couldn't say which is theirs, but I could point you in the right direction.
That'll be a good thing. How much would you require to help us?
What do you think is fair?
I'm paying you. You're the artist here.
Couple pieces of silver.
Sounds good.
So you pull out a few pieces of silver out of the purse, I presume. Hand it over to him.
Yeah, I'll give him an extra one for a tip.
Oh, sure. He tips his hat to you and walks off, whistling to himself. Oh, yeah, my part of the deal. Sorry, I almost walked away with your money there. You're going to want to head down this way for about 20 or so minutes. And you'll know it when you get there. There's an old warehouse near a dock that used to exist and then fell out. No one's repaired it, but it's still sort of an eyesore. I mean, there's a lot of docks, but this one, specifically that way, about 20 minutes you'll see it. And then that section there, in that whole area, from what I understand, the Lampblacks have connections there. Or I've at least seen their people around, people calling themselves Lampblacks, the colors and everything like that. The marks they wear and things like that, right?
Well, thank you, friend.
Thank you, he says, holding up the coin. And then he turns and actually walks away this time.
So we heading that way, or?
Let's head that way. Start walking.
Okay. Blinder and Carver, you've been very quiet so far. Well, what are let's check in with Blinder. What is on Blinder's mind right now? Is he just sort of following along? Is that what's going on here?
He mostly is looking anywhere but really where the focus of the group's attention is.
Okay.
He's feeling very self-conscious, and he's sort of propped up his rain jacket, his collar, and is trying to, obscure his face a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's midday, and oh, sorry. Go, please continue.
He's also just muttering to himself. He's just find this.
Okay. Yeah. As I was going to say, it is midday in Duskfall, so it is the lightest portion of the day. But as I described many times before, the daylight hours here are, think of like Alaska in the winter. It's only like a few hours of the day. And because of all the smog from the smokestacks and factories and things like that, it's still even darker than it would normally be. So it's still, even though it's midday and there is light out, it's still relatively easy for a Blinder to sort of cover himself up and make himself unrecognizable to people that might be looking in on him, kind of a thing, right? And then Carver's been very quiet as well.
Yeah, Carver's kind of letting them talk through this a little bit.
Okay. I know that Carver had shown his social skills before, so he's just sort of letting them taking the reins and seeing kind of what they can accomplish here is the idea, mm-hmm. and maybe only stepping in if he needs to.
Well, more specifically, there's this mood of he's observing them and trying to feel their general focus, where they want to go with this.
Okay.
Like he's trying to figure out if he's going to do this in the future with them, mm-hmm. what kinds of things is he going to want to say that will vibe with the rest of the group?
Sure. So he's sort of, to paraphrase basically what you're saying, he's sort of sussing out the rest of the group.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So all of the characters head down the direction that the man had given them. They spend about 20 minutes walking, and then they find themselves off to their left towards the canal. They see the broken down old dock that is decrepit, just as the man had described. And then they see, as they've seen now in this sort of warehouse area, it is sort of an endless line of different buildings and warehouses and things of that variety. Shipping, although may not be one of the primary forms of transportation for cargo and things of that variety, is still used when it can be, especially to transport goods across the city, right? Like, for example, Silk Shore and the other districts are just across the canalway, and carrying them all the way down and taking them across the bridge is actually much slower than just perhaps taking them on a boat straight across. So because of that, people, Crowsfoot being on the very edge of this large canal with districts on the other side of the canal, Crowsfoot ends up getting quite a bit of attention in that way when it comes to moving goods across, right? And so they see this vast area continuing before them of warehouses and buildings and things of that variety. So what are you doing from this point?
I'm going to step back and look at Martin and see if he has any ideas.
Okay.
Kind of looking around, just, well, I mean, they said there's the one old decrepit warehouse. We can go check that out.
Yep.
And I don't know, do we just knock on the door?
I don't. Why don't we test the door first?
Well, I have a question.
Sure.
Huh.
Blinder doesn't.
Is
agree
this
with us.
about the point where we want to make ourselves appear to be other people?
This is about that point, yes. And if the story is we were sent here to move things around, we are new people. We're a new crew of helping moving things around.
We hold on, and he'll kind of disappear off into the crowd. Can I get supplies to help everyone disguise themselves and look as unrecognizable as possible?
Unless people state otherwise, I presume you always carry a light load. So you very easily can spend some of that light load into your gear to, in fact, have your, I believe it's called espionage tools or subterfuge tools, if I remember right.
Subterfuge supplies.
Subterfuge supplies, yes. I believe Carver has something of that variety.
Everybody does.
Well, there you go. So
They also have a fine disguise kit.
well, there you go too. Yeah.
I do not have a fine disguise kit.
Yes, I believe that's something special to the slide, which is what Carver is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
So I am more
yeah.
than happy to carry that and use that to aid these wonderful individuals.
Well, I would say the fine disguise kit is good for you, like for the disguising yourself much more intensely than just simply the other base subterfuge tools, I believe is what it was.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's the subterfuge supplies.
Subterfuge supplies, yeah. So if people wanted to use those subterfuge supplies and mark them off, the combination of that mixed with your ability to create disguises, you could very easily sort of fix them up in a way to make them all look different, yes.
To put
Then
some more
I will start doing that.
To put some more perspective on it, it's like Highlander. He doesn't have a sword until he gets in a fight, and then he just whips out a sword out of his jacket. Right? That's the way gear works in this game.
Sort of.
Basically, when you need
Sort
it,
of.
It just appears.
Yeah, it's not so much that it appears magically or anything like that in the fiction, right? But it's supposed to be the idea of your characters will have brought the gear that they felt like they needed. So this game uses a gear system where it's you have a certain load that you decide you have when you go on a mission or something, and then you can mark things off as you need them in that sort of classic crime heist sort of way where you can be like, yeah, I brought my subterfuge supplies because I knew I would need them, that sort of thing. Go ahead and do a challenge. This is going to be a group challenge. Okay.
What are we using for it?
So you will use whatever skill you believe would be the most fitting. Maybe Tinkerer? Or something else of that variety?
I think Sway would probably be, because it's going to involve us getting in, fast talking our way in, or looking like those people, right?
Oh, sure.
I
Okay.
have-
Sure. Sway.
I have command.
I mean,
Sort of like, I am a very important person. You need to let me in.
I think Sway.
Or I belong here.
I think Sway would work better, and it's also something that makes sense for all of you to use. So we will do a group challenge. So basically the way this works is that we will say who would like to lead the challenge, who would basically be, in a sense, like the champion of the challenge. You, Carver? Okay, so the way that a group challenge works, because this is the first time we're doing it here on the stream, what happens is the champion, or the leader of the group challenge, is basically, think of it like he's assisting them through a skill that they may not be as familiar familiar with. So they will all be rolling a sway roll, and if any of them fail, Carver can spend stress to increase their roll, basically, to allow them to succeed in a sense.
No, I also have Cloak and Dagger,
Okay.
which gives me a one die to the roll.
Yes.
Would that work for them as well?
No,
or-
that only applies to you. So you will get
Okay.
that one die to the roll when you go to roll. So meaning that, you know, the overall success, because the overall success is still judged upon how well the leader succeeds. But you basically, the way the group challenge works is that you end up, no matter who the leader is, you end up taking the best roll of the group, and then the group leader can spend stress to basically make sure that everyone succeeds by sort of teaching them how to do it, sort of a thing.
Okay.
So go ahead and everybody roll a sway challenge roll.
Hey.
And we'll just start with Reaper. Reaper, what'd you get?
I got a 1.
How many dice did you have for this? I mean, how many dots?
1.
Oh, you have one?
One
Okay, so you have one and you rolled a 1. Okay. Martin.
I have 1 die, and I rolled a 6.
Oh, full success. Very nice. Blinder.
Yeah.
2 3s.
2 3s. Okay, also a failure. And Carver.
I rolled the devil's number.
What?
3
Ox
666 on 3 dice.
You rolled 3 6s? Okay, so you rolled a critical success, because anytime you roll a 6 and a 6, it is a critical success in this game. So Carver's got a critical success, and then we have 2 failures. So Carver, would you like to spend stress to basically provide them with a success?
That was a question?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I am just looking up exactly how much it costs right now. I know it's going to be at least a stress per person. I just need to double check to see if it's a stress per you know how like you can spend coin to increase the effect of something of that variety. I just need to double check to make sure it's not something like that.
That's stupid. I'm not using those dice anymore.
What, you rolled a critical success? How is that stupid?
I want to fail at least once.
You failed before.
Not when it's.
And we're gamers. We will fail again.
Yes, you will. There will be other rolls that will potentially allow you to fail. That is true.
And dice. That's all there is to it.
I mean, use whichever dice you wish to use.
Mom,
Right.
if you're watching, I'm using the bone dice.
There it is. Sorry. Sometimes this book is amazing, but sometimes stuff is hard to find.
We play werewolf. We know this drama.
Okay, so you take 1 stress per each person that rolled a 1 through 3. So Reaper had a 1 and Blinder had a 1, so you're going to take 2 stress. Okay, but other than that, because you had engaged in a group action, that means that you all, as long as Carver spends that 2 stress, you have all succeeded. You have all successfully disguised yourself as other people. I believe your plan was to look like workers, like warehouse workers or something of that variety. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll let you describe what it is that you guys are all going to look like. Maybe from Carver's perspective, what is he making everyone look like? Go ahead, Carver.
I'm generally changing, like adding weird things, like using this like strange paint stuff to like make people's hair color look different.
Okay.
Generally applying makeup, like the Zoolander kit,
Okay.
and then giving them different clothing and like, I don't know, in the case of Blinder there, gonna be like padding up certain areas with like an extra layer of clothing,
Okay.
so he looks a little bit bulkier maybe.
Okay. And any feedback from the rest of the crew? What is something that you would have maybe specifically asked for, or had been be like, oh, give me a mustache or something like that? Anyone?
Yeah,
Will start with Reaper.
definitely.
Okay.
I will definitely dress up like a gentleman,
Okay.
and I'll have a mustache and everything.
Okay. So you'll have like a bit of hair or something that he takes from like a horse. Maybe he finds like a goat or a horse or something and like cuts some of its hair off and then makes you a mustache. Okay, cool.
Yep.
And then
Sheepfoot mustache.
yeah, and then Martin.
Oh, I don't know. He very begrudgingly puts on clothes that he does not like.
Okay, so what might that look like then?
Oh, it's probably like, I don't know, the full one jumper.
Oh, like overalls or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Overall, but like they have sleeves and shit. It's like a miner's type outfit.
Okay.
As to cover everything I have, and it looks official, but he is not enjoying it.
It looks like a working guy. Okay, and anything specific on Blinder?
He just mostly has like a really long, drab, worker's dockman's jacket. You know,
Mhm.
like it's like buttoned up, double buttoned up in the front, and has like a big high collar.
Mm-hmm.
He's bulked up. It's
Mhm.
like, I don't really feel comfortable.
He's like, yeah. What was that? Was that movie? That Christmas movie where they like get the kid all in the bulky clothes and they have it like duct tape? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. A Christmas Story. Yeah, and he's just like,
keep your eye out, kid.
yeah, that he's like
Yeah.
that. So Blinder's all like so thick he can't even move his arms right now. He's like having to move, like turn sideways if he's gonna go through a door, sort of a
I
thing.
gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah,
And you can't really see his face. You just see
Yeah.
like his mustache. He's
that's
like,
perfect.
Hey, how you doing?
That's perfect. Okay, so you have all officially disguised yourself. You definitely look like different people. And what are you doing now?
I'm gonna look at Carver because he seems to be the breaking and entering, and wait and see what he's doing.
I will try the door,
Okay. It's unlocked.
and I will just walk in, like I own the place.
Okay, and so you're walking. You guys were walking into the dock the warehouse that's right next to the old dock that's all broken and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so as you open the door and walk inside, this is not like a big sliding door. There's a big sliding door down the way, but you open up the door that seems like it's barely sitting on its hinges, anyways, and you open it up and you can see immediately inside this fairly large warehouse. Most of its windows were at one point like single pane glass, but they've probably been broken by either, you presume, animals or kids with rocks or something like that. So most of the windows don't even still really stand, but sort of fragments sit in the sills, and portions of the glass kind of sits in areas. The rest of the warehouse is just trashed. It looks like people partied here or something. There's a smell here, kind of like stale old alcohol. But keep in mind, in Duskfall, because growing plants is rather hard unless you have a lot of money. The most often drunk alcohol is actually made from like mushrooms, so it has this like fungus smell to it, like mushroom wine or things of that variety, whereas beer is far less common. So there's this sort of dankness and smell already, and then this sort of stale and sour old alcohol. You can see on the floor of the warehouse
Piss water.
mushroom piss water, exactly. On the floor of the warehouse, actually at sections, is actually cracked and broken, and you can see out into basically the bay, or into the rocky area that forms eventually into this sort of bay canal space behind the warehouses. And even portions of it have fallen off. You couldn't quite see it from outside, but once you're inside, you realize that presumably this warehouse isn't actually used for any sort of official business. At least not this one specifically.
Does it feel like there's anything in here that might be kind of odd for being a place that's been shut down?
Not really. There's like think of like a burn barrel sort of thing sitting over on one area with some shitty chairs and benches and sort of things around it. You know, there's trash around that. There's, you know, portions of the barrel are sort of burned out and fallen out, and so you can see like ash kind of pouring out of it onto the floor. It doesn't really seem like there's anything out of place in the sense of that there are, you know, there's not like cargo in here or anything of that variety.
Okay. So, are there any other rooms, or is this the only room?
This is basically the only room in this warehouse, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna kind of look to everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think it's here.
Blinder will basically like go wandering. There's like crates and things, right? So it's like are they tall enough that you can actually like look behind or get?
There's no crates that are keeping any sort of storage going on in here. There's crates, like I meant like small crates on the ground, like people had been sitting on them like chairs.
Oh,
Okay.
pallets.
Like milk crates, yeah, or things like that. Maybe a few pallets that might have been broken up and used as firewood in the burn barrel. There's nothing like in the sense of cargo here, because it definitely seems like this warehouse is no longer used, or is just not safe enough to actually hold weight. There's this creakiness to the floor when you sort of walk across it. Have you ever been in like one of those really old like logging warehouses that are no longer used and they've just sort of fallen to age? It's very much like that sort of vibe to it. Well,
Are you
please
sure
continue,
we got
Blinder.
the right warehouse?
While they're discussing amongst
Mhm.
themselves,
Mhm.
Blinder is just gonna like go and look out over through the floor into the water.
Okay.
Like he's like really fascinated with it, but really what he's doing is he's turning it, making sure the front of his face is facing away from the group,
Okay.
and he's going to attune.
Okay.
So they said that he said that the decrepit warehouse is there, but I
Well,
don't
he,
think
he said that
he's-
it belonged to them. I imagine if
So-
we sit here long enough and wait, they'll show up.
maybe there's. Well, I mean, what are we gonna do in the meantime? We should keep looking.
True.
Maybe it's underground.
Could be.
Maybe I think Blinder went to go and check out and see if maybe he could see something over the ledge.
Okay,
Hmm.
well, we'll wait to see what he's doing.
Well,
When he
I'll
comes back.
start looking for hidden compartments and stuff.
Yeah, I'll
Well-
help him.
Okay. While you guys are talking, go ahead and roll, Blinder, because this is happening simultaneously.
I rolled. It was 4,
You rolled a 4. Okay.
4, 2, and 1. 4 was the highest roll.
Okay. So as has happened many times before, you close your eyes for a moment and then open your senses to the ghost field. There's this static that falls across your body, making your hair stand on end, almost like you can feel it sort of snapping between your fingers. You know how like when you get static on your body and you go to touch something, how you can feel like that moment before that static happens, you can sort of feel a charge of energy. There's that sort of feeling sort of melting through Blinder. The world visually sort of changes around him. It becomes very blurry. He notices around him there are ripples. There are shards. There are whispers. Something starts to cry out in the distance.
He'll try to. It's so he's hearing something in the distance. There's
He
nothing
hears
in the vicinity?
he hears many things, but yes, he hears this sort of ambiance around him of this world and its pale reflection in death. So there's nothing in his immediate vicinity that he sees while he's looking out into the water itself.
Okay, he'll attempt to reach out with his consciousness.
Is he still looking
Right,
out to the
to-
water while he's doing this?
He's trying to keep his. Well, he's lost his trance now, so like whatever body direction he faces or does is completely involuntary, because
He has
not-
control when he opens his senses.
he's still new to this, so he's
Sure.
still like trying to manage
Oh,
being
so it's just so many
states of
things at
consciousness
once.
at
Okay.
once. So he subconsciously starts reaching out towards one of those voices
Mhm.
that he hears, and
He turns towards it, and it's within the warehouse here, and he sees someone he sees a reflection. Think of like a ripple. Almost imagine like steam opening from a steam pot, right? Except it emanates from the floor, and as it emanates up, he sees a shape of a person lying on the ground, reaching out and fighting someone else, and there's someone standing up over the top of him, stabbing them with a knife, right? And then it sort of disappears, and then he sees another person like standing in the corner and getting shot, and then falling over dead. And he sees these sort of like ripples happening before him, like reflections or rewinds of these things that may have happened here at some time. It's pieces here and there, usually the most intense moments of what may have happened.
but there's nothing. Okay, but he can't really it's just a lot of little images that he's seeing in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he's gonna attempt to reach out to find a voice of a ghost moaning in the background
Okay.
out of frustration, because he's just like, this is what it is, and you're like, and never having attempted this before, he's going to reach out and try to force it to come to him. He's going to try to force the voice, and I'm going to use my compel ability
Okay.
to tune the ghost field to force a nearby ghost to appear and obey a command.
Okay. Is there a specific spirit in mind?
He doesn't have that much control, I would think, yet
Well-
over it. So he's just basically he's trying to pick out one of the voices in the ambient background or one of the images in front of him and try to grab onto it
Okay.
and force him. He's never attempted this before.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I'm gonna pause right there for a moment and go back to the other scene that's currently happening, because this is simultaneously happening. Reaper, Martin, and Carver, what have you been talking about in these last few minutes? That basically, it seems like Blinder is just sort of looking around, his pupils blown out of his head, like he just did a bunch of drugs or something, and he seems like sort of lost in thought. You may not have noticed that, but I'm just saying that there's this sort of like, he's just like looking like almost like sensory overload is probably going on or something.
I'm gonna start, or Martin is gonna start traipsing around the house, looking for
The warehouse?
Any, the warehouse.
The warehouse. Okay.
Looking for any stash spots.
Okay. I'll just give it to him. I mean, he's pretty familiar enough with like where people might stash stuff. He finds he finds one. You know, it seems like where he presumes probably some teenagers or something hid some, you know, old bottles of alcohol that hadn't been completely finished. Like they probably didn't want to take them home with them or something. He finds another one that's basically like a bag of, smokable drugs, we shall say.
Are they good?
The devil's lettuce.
Is it good or is it crap?
Oh, it's absolute shit.
Nope, not taking that with me.
Absolute shit.
Not taking that with me.
Yeah.
No, just is there a downstairs and upstairs?
No. It is literally one massive warehouse that has portions of it like fallen apart and decrepit, and it seems like in one corner closest to the actual, like, you guys came in through a door and there's a sliding door to your right, a big one. Basically along that wall and to your right is where people, like the barrel was and things like that, like people were partying. It doesn't seem like people go out on the far edge because they're worried about it falling and, you know, them falling down the, 10, 15 feet down into the rocks on the shore or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, and there doesn't seem to be anything inside the building. It looks like at one time there might have been an upper floor, but it's completely fallen out or been broken away or something. Reaper, was there anything that Reaper was doing at this time?
Reaper is looking for compartments as well along with him, along ground, things like that. Probably on the other end of the warehouse so that we can meet in the middle.
Sure. And you also find some similar things. You know, you find some drugs. You probably find a knife or something like that stashed away in a small space.
I'm keeping the drugs. I'm keeping the knives.
Sure. Okay. But yeah, but nothing other than that, really. Carver, was there anything you were doing during that time?
I am looking around for like any sort of like hidden like latchways or anything like that.
There doesn't seem to be any inside the building at all. It's in certain areas you can even see down through the old wooden floor down to the actual shore itself, like the canalway, right? So in portions further out, you're actually seeing water beneath you, and then portions closer in, you're seeing like the rocks and things like that beneath you, these sort of murky rocks and dark water mixed with river water in this sort of estuary.
Then I will basically just start asking, what do you guys want to do if it's not here?
I mean, we could just start asking people if they belong to the lamp blacks, and then, you know, ask them very nicely. Maybe enough money you'll get them to not tell them.
I don't think that that's how it works, but I mean, I don't think anybody else has any better ideas, do they?
Well, I mean, we don't even know which warehouse we're getting.
Yeah, we have no leads. It's true.
Okay.
Why didn't
in a moment,
didn't Malone tell you?
In a moment, while you're having this conversation, I need all of you to, other than Blinder, to roll a resolve check, a resolve resistance roll. Unless you have some special ability that makes you supernaturally immune to fear.
So if we don't, what are we looking for?
I'm pretty
resolve?
sure that both. I know that the cutters get an ability where they can punch ghosts, but I'm pretty sure
we can.
Yeah, but you don't have anything that lets you resist. I don't think the slide may have anything like that. I think it's just the whisper that has the ghost armor thing. Yeah. So yeah, so all of you will need to do a resolve resistance roll. So the way this works is you roll your resolve stat, which is the dots in your resolve track on the far left side, and you are going to roll that. And the way it works is you are taking 10, not 10. You're taking 6 stress as damage, and whatever your highest roll is how much of that stress you resist taking.
Well, this isn't going to be good for me.
Oops. Forgot about that part.
Yeah. Well, this is the Blinder's first time ever doing this. He didn't really think about that, you know. Okay, so Reaper, what did you roll?
I rolled a 5.
Okay, so you will take 1 stress, and for the basically the next combat round, in a sense, like for your neck, you're going to be like stuck there in fear. Martin, what did you roll?
I got a 3.
A 3. Okay, so you're gonna take 3 stress. You're gonna lose 3 stress, and
Yep.
you're basically sort of petrified and borderline about to just run. And Carver.
3.
Oh, same thing. So you will take 3. You will lose 3 stress, and you are petrified, stuck there, and like so close to running. Like if anything, like at one point you might just turn tail and run. So what happens is while you're sitting there having this conversation, in a moment, out of the area where the people had been drinking, out of nowhere, you see this light start to flicker from the floor, almost like a fire is catching, and then sparks start to shoot out of it, like almost like a firing out of a plume. And then there is a static shock of energy that shoots up out of the floor, and you see a hand set in some sort of wreath of a wispy shape, and yet at the same time just discharging energy. It is thick in the air. All of your the hair at the back of your head is standing up. Think of like being when you've been near one of those like Tesla sort of balls and your hair goes whoosh, like there's that sort of effect going on, and you're all just sitting there petrified, and this hand comes up and grabs the floor and then steps up, and what you can see is there are all these, they are solid enough but still wispy in a way, like portions of their body are disappearing in a moment and then re-solidifying so you can see what's there. And they stand up until they eventually get to their feet, and you can see a portion of their neck is cut completely open, like their head is leaned over to the side. They have their eyes are completely black, and there are multiple stab wounds, like as holes in their chest. And they start walking towards Ezra, but the walking is more like they're kind of moving, but they're mostly floating. Like they're moving their legs, but they're actually just slowly sort of floating towards Ezra. And you see it's like reaching out its hand towards him. Blinder. All you see what's happening to your compatriots, and yet you feel none of the effects. You feel the energy. You feel the same spark you did when you opened your senses to the ghost field, but you feel no fear. You feel no, other than, sort of pit of your stomach anxiety, like you're hoping this doesn't go wrong, but you don't feel a supernatural fear like that overtakes you, like you can tell your friends are experiencing, these hardened individuals. And it comes towards you until it's like almost right in front of your face, and gurgles a strange noise, and is just looking at you straight into your eyes, like it's waiting for something.
Blinder will. This is like narrative, but
Yes,
I imagine
yeah, sure.
like that the ghost is trying to not attack, but is aggressing on him somehow, right? So he will, but it's emanating energy that Blinder could see.
Mm-hmm. He could feel it.
Yeah, he could feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And so he basically takes that energy, like a coils, and wraps it around the ghost invisibly, so the others probably don't see this. And he basically, the look on his face is like not scared at all. In fact, he almost looks like he's enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, he has that look on his face, like this, he's into this, and he basically raises his hand,
Mhm.
right? Pulls his hand tight, like almost like he's pulling on a leash,
Okay.
and
When he does that, by the way, all of you see the ghost like kneel, just like fall down to its knees in front of him, its hands at its side, almost like a puppet on strings, just sitting there.
now when he communicates to the ghost, is it communicating in the ghost, like a ghost language?
No,
Or
it's like your words.
my words? Okay.
Mhm.
So he's like,
But there's no sense of like you need to be like volume. You could literally whisper, and you presume you're not sure if he would hear you. Like obviously, what you're thinking is it doesn't seem to be registering your thoughts. Like there seems to be some sort of verbal component to it of some variety, but
answer my questions.
it lifts its head up to Blinder.
Is this the Lamplax's warehouse? Is this under the protection?
Yes. It says with this like bile and liquid, like it had been drowned or set in water, gargling. Yes.
Are there soul jars nearby?
Yes.
Where?
It like looks up at you, and then it points past through the wall, like the direction you guys had come here from, and towards. You can't really see where it's pointing, but it's pointing back into the warehouse district.
And basically, he's gonna say, "Show me," but he's meaning like appear, like, give me an image, because it's partially like mental, verbal communication, right?
Mm-hmm.
What they hear is "show me," but
It does. You see it stand up like it's broken from the leash, and it just. You guys see it disappear into Blinder, and Blinder, you feel it slam into your chest like someone just knocked the wind out of you, and then your body stands up like you're a puppet, and you're not in control of your own motion, and then you start to awkwardly move and turn like you're walking, and you start walking like have you guys seen the movie Men in Black? You know the part where the alien is walking and he does those like really jerky like full leg walking, like it has no idea what it's doing. Blinder starts doing that out of the warehouse and then opens the door and then just continues walking down the way and is walking now down the away from you guys
are
basically.
you saying that
Follow-
Blinder is an Edgar suit?
Yes,
Blinder suit.
Blinder is an Edgar suit, yeah.
I'm going to immediately try to get as close to him without touching him.
Okay.
But like pretending that I'm going to catch him if he falls.
Okay.
Because if somebody sees us, we're gonna play it off like he's drunk.
Most people are getting out of this guy's way. He is
Okay, good.
he is super big and thick because of the big disguise you guys have given him, and he is moving like he is on some sort of like PCP or something. He's just super intense,
As
like
we're-
just marching down the road.
As we're walking, Martin is gonna. If anybody tries to stare too long,
Mm-hmm.
Martin is just gonna give him a look and be like, "You don't want what he's on."
Gotta get to work, bro.
I do want to clarify though that there's only so close you guys can go without just being like remembering what you saw and feeling uncomfortable. But now that you can't see it any longer, you're no longer petrified. Just to clarify that so that you're aware.
Okay.
You're not in immediate like peeing your pants mode. But yes, so you all follow Blinder, and then eventually Blinder finds himself in front of a medium-sized warehouse. There doesn't seem to be anyone there. The ghost is like walking towards it and then turns and walks down an alleyway. And then if you're following Blinder, and you round the corner, Blinder, you fall to your knees, having gained control of your body, and it feels, like that feeling when your foot falls asleep, how there's the pins and needles when the blood returns to it. You have that like moving through all of your limbs right now. It's this sort of uncomfortable sensation. And then you see the ghost is like down on its knees and it's looking at you. And it just points its hand, basically it pushes its hand through the wall while staring at you, and then is gone.
Okay, Blinder's now like shaking very nervously,
Mhm.
and it's like, oh,
Okay, so what the fuck was that?
What the shit is what? How? What? And at this point, you see that Martin has this really nice piece of textured fabric in his hands, in his left hand, and he's kind of just rubbing his fingers over it, just kind of like a little fidget thing.
it's your safety strap.
It's my spirit bane charm.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay.
Because it's zero load. Everybody has one.
If you expend the box, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and the Reaper came around and they were about to say something. What were they saying?
What the fuck was that?
Okay.
What is that?
Blinder will stand up and collect himself and look around where get a sense of his surroundings. Remember I said that people like me were hunted?
So
That's
you
why.
decided to raise something that
When we have a quiet place to speak, we need to have that conversation.
I don't think you're in any position to tell him what to do. You just saw what he did. I don't want to mess with him.
I don't want to mess with him either. I want to know what that was. That was scary as shit. I know how to intimidate people, but I want to learn how to do that.
Do you need new pants?
Almost.
Fair.
We have found the place.
I think you made Carver catatonic. I'll go over to Carver and nudge him a little bit. Poke, 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 poke.
He like jumps into like a fighting stance. He's just like, whew! And he doesn't say anything. He's just wide-eyed and just
Okay,
on
I'll
guard.
Back off. I'll back off.
I'm sorry. We had obviously been taken by the person who sold us the information, and I remember what happened last time, and we need this, and I don't entirely know, or we could speak about it later. I would much rather not talk about this here.
That's a good idea. Let's just keep going.
Shall we?
Where the hell are we?
I believe we're firmly in the. That over there is where the jars are.
Okay.
I'm gonna go over there with a purpose.
Yeah, act like we know where we're going.
Yep, go to work. Gotta go to work.
Is there a ladder?
In the alley?
Yeah.
No. There doesn't seem to be just a ladder sitting in the alley.
And I believe we're making our way in.
Okay, so you're going to the front of the warehouse and then going to try and walk inside?
How many people are around?
You don't see any people, like, other than people going to and from places. It's still very sporadic, though. But you don't see any people, like, sitting near the door or anything like that.
Okay. I'm gonna wait for them to go in, and while they're going in, I'm going to see how people are transporting back and forth stuff from the warehouse.
Usually like buggies, like the same thing like you transported Aldo in, just more like wagons or things like that. Yeah.
Okay. I am going to wander away from the warehouse while they are inspecting the warehouse
Okay.
with the intent to find someone that will sell me their cart or let me rent their cart.
Okay. Most of the people you run into seem to have full carts, or they're like on their way to doing a job. So they're like, I can't really lend you this. Maybe later tonight when I'm
Yeah, how about
done.
once you're done? Yeah, definitely. I'm not in a rush, but I don't have a cart, so I would have to rent one from you if you would be so kind.
Okay. Well, sure. Yeah. Do you want
How much
me to
is
meet
it?
you back here at a certain time?
Wherever you'd like.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. I'll be back here at dusk.
Okay, thank you.
Does that
I
work?
appreciate it. Yeah, that works.
Sure. Okay. I'll see you then.
Thank
Do we
you.
want to pay for half in advance?
Oh, yes. How much would you require for us to rent your cart?
I mean, how long are you gonna borrow it for?
I'm not quite sure. It shouldn't be too long, I don't think.
Like a couple hours, a day? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking maybe a few hours.
Oh,
I'll let you know if it's more.
that's pretty cheap, as long as you don't break it.
Definitely.
Do you need it like privately or something?
Yeah, I have some old things that I want to transport, and I don't really want thieves getting wind of it.
Oh. Okay, well, are you willing to sign a slip saying that if you don't return it to me, I can seek out, additional payment, etc.?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll bring that with me then.
Okay.
I'll see you at dusk,
All right.
he says, and keeps going on his way. What was the thing that Carver was saying? I believe Carver was saying something.
Nah, I said it.
I had missed what you had said. What was it that you had said, Carver?
It was to Reaper. She
Oh, I
role
see.
played with it.
Oh, I see. Okay. Just double checking. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Reaper had gone looking for a card. What was Martin doing in the meantime, etc.? What was Carver doing in the meantime? What was Blinder doing in the meantime?
I was with Reaper.
Oh, you went with her. Sorry, I got confused about that. Okay. Carver
meant
had
that
gone
too.
with Reaper. All good there. Sorry, I was double checking something in the book. What was Martin doing in the meantime?
Staying a good 10 feet away from Blinder, at least.
Okay, so he's just sort of chilling, or
Yeah, basically he's chilling, waiting for people to come back, and also kind of clocking movements, seeing who's going where, when, try and see if there's any discernible pattern in people's movements around here.
okay. Has anyone checked the actual door of the warehouse yet, or anything like that, or plan to?
Not
Yeah,
yet, no.
well, I planned to.
Okay. Okay.
It
So,
just basically looks like he's about ready to have a mental breakdown. So while Martin's doing that and they're off going to get the cart, he's just like like sweating.
mhm.
He's like staring at his hands.
Mhm.
Like
Okay.
just basically trying to compose
Well-
himself as much as possible.
Okay.
May I adjust what I said I was going to do?
Sure.
As Blinder is going through what he's going through,
Mhm.
Martin walks up and be like, "Hey, man. Are you okay?"
He almost like, it's like when you freeze, when somebody when you sense somebody's about ready to attack you or something like that, and you just like stop, you know, deer in
Uh-huh.
headlights moment. And you notice his body is really tensed up, but doesn't continue shaking or anything like that. And he just looks over at you, very like composed, although you don't know how much effort it might have taken to become that composed. He's like, I'm quite fine, thank you.
You no, okay.
I will be able to do what we need to do.
That's not what I was asking about. I was asking if you were okay. Because I don't know. That's I'm never gonna forget that. Ever.
There was no harm to me from that situation. I apologize for the.
Yeah, I don't know if a warning would have done any good. But hey, no, seriously, though. Like, are you okay?
I'm fine.
Alright.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And Martin, and the whole time, by the way, Martin's face was not ironic or anything like that. He was very, like, genuinely concerned.
Yeah. I get that.
Yeah. All right.
As soon as you turn, though, you hear, oh my god.
Maybe like that, like pre-puke sort of noise, like he's driving a little, maybe.
And then he'll go back to his spot and return to people watching.
Yeah, about this point, Reaper and Carver come back. You guys find Blinder and Martin still in the alleyway.
So I have a cart for dusk.
Okay. Are there people? Is there noise coming from the warehouse?
There's a lot of noise, but you don't hear specifically any like banging on the wall or anything like that.
I'm gonna go over and kind of check around, see if there's any openings that are unlocked, any windows that we can see through.
All the windows are super high up, and all of the doors are locked. And even the big sliding door is like giant chain, super padlocked. Like, this place seems pretty secure.
Any holes in any of the walls?
Nope. Seems like this warehouse is perfectly fine. A-okay.
You said that the warehouse is locked with chain.
Yeah, like the, you know, those how like, you know, like airfield or big warehouses that you see for like shipments. They always have, or at least before semi trucks were a thing, they used to have those big sliding doors so that people could bring things in and out. Right, that is locked with a big chain and padlocked. Right. And it's a pretty intensive lock, too. So it would be one of those, like, you could break it if you wanted to, but it would definitely draw attention because it would take a minute to break it open.
How about does somebody... I can do burglary gear and maybe roll for finesse to get it opened?
Sure.
Awesome.
Does anyone have a better roll than 1 on finesse? That could probably take that better than I can.
Finesse. No.
I could use the prowess stat, but
that's for resistance rolls, but yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna roll. I've got 1 die.
Can I assist?
Do you have any of this skill?
No.
Has your character ever picked a lock before?
No.
Well,
I mean, maybe, but I was thinking
I'll
more
say,
like...
I'll say you can assist, but it's not really like you're really helping. You're more just like, what if you just like did the, like you have no idea what you're talking about, so it's hard for you to assist.
Well,
But-
I was thinking of more of like providing cover to give her the time necessary to.
Well, that
You
wouldn't
know,
be
poke-
assistance
poke
for the roll.
around.
That would be a linked action.
Okay.
So that wouldn't give her the +1 dice.
Okay.
Do you have something, Carver? Yeah.
I do have one in that.
Oh, sure. If you would like to
So
assist, sure.
I could assist.
Yeah.
If you
That's
guys would still want to do the linked action, though, that would also probably help.
A linked action is basically where you have a plan where you're doing a bunch of things at once, and one action is going to affect the next action, kind of a thing, right? So you don't necessarily need to do that. I was just pointing out that, like, if someone doesn't have the skill, I mean, they can try to do so, but it's much harder for them. I'm also going to say, because of the tier of your gear, Reaper, this is a desperate action to pick this lock, so that you're aware. Blinder, do you have something?
I can also lend an assistance dice using my tinker skill. Basically, like it's
Sure,
it's
yeah.
still a lock. You could, it's
Yeah,
just the
Sure, you understand the construction of how locks would be made. Sure, yeah, that's fine. Go
So
ahead.
I'll burn 2 stress to do that.
So
Oh,
how
it's
many
for
do
when you
I-
give a dice, it's 1. When you do it for yourself, it's 2. So Carver is spending a stress to help. Blinder is spending a stress to help. So you're gonna get +2 dice.
Perfect. I'm rolling 3 dice. Hang on
Yes.
1 second.
And it is a desperate action, so keep that in mind.
Come on, roll good.
Desperate with a weak effect.
I got a 4, a 3, and a 2.
Okay, so it's a mixed success, with the 4. So you are able to. It is think of like those multi-combination ones. You're able to find the correct place for the first sort of tumbler, to get that unlocked. But you end up jamming the tool in, and you have to basically restart. Otherwise, you'll end up breaking the sort of pick that you're using, because it's very, very fine instrument.
I'm gonna continue trying, as long as there is no one around to see me doing it.
Sure. Keep in mind, you did perform a desperate action, so you do get to add 1 to your prowess, I believe is what it is, yes? Or finesse.
Finesse, yeah.
Finesse. So you get to add
Yes.
1 to your finesse bubbles.
It's the prowess 6B.
Oh, yeah, finesse is the skill, prowess is the attribute, yes. So you add it to the prowess section.
So I add a tick in my prowess.
Yes, so whenever you're doing a skill in a section, you know how there's the 3, like, basically resistance stats, prowess, resolve, insight, right? So you're performing a finesse action, which is inside the prowess stat area, right? So whenever you are doing a desperate action for one of those skills, you get to add 1 free XP to that section's little check marks. You know how you're getting, like, you're building up check marks, and then you can eventually spend them all to add a dot to something. So yeah, that's
Got it,
you,
got it.
because you performed a desperate action, you get to add 1 little check mark in there. Yeah. Okay, so basically what this is going to do is this is going to continue the position you're in. Is the negative effect is that you're continuing in this desperate action, and so it is still desperate. It is still a weak effect, basically. So this is going to be a hard thing to accomplish without some outside aid or assistance or something of that variety.
Okay. Did you just say it's not going to work without some outside assistance?
Well, what I was basically saying was that because you're in, not to say you're in dire straits, you're not in a dangerous situation, but you're basically in the weakest position you could possibly be in with the smallest effect you could possibly have, because this is something you're both not pardon me, because this is both something you're not used to doing, and because your tools aren't necessarily up to the level to be able to perform this sort of task. It's a higher tier lock compared to your tier of tools, right?
How about my tinkering tools?
Sure.
Okay, I'll use those.
They're oh actually no, they're the same level, right? The tier
Okay.
of your
Okay.
gear is based on your guys' tier as a crew, and right now your tier is 0.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
You have something, Blinder?
Oh, so I see them basically messing with this lock for
Yeah.
a period of time
A
now,
a few minutes, yeah.
and I'm like, like what? If excuse me, why don't we just break it?
I didn't want to make a loud sound, but now that you mention it, I'm gonna use wreck.
Okay,
Now this one I can help with.
that is true. I will point out to you that as I specifically said before, because this is a big lock and it has a decent resistance. I'm sorry about that. Some water or something. You are going to be noticed. You are going to be noticed smashing this lock because it will take you long enough that people will have walked by seeing you breaking this lock. It's not really something you can do stealthy unless you have specific tools to be able to do so, like wire cutter, or not wire cutters, but bolt cutters or something like that, right?
Okay, so I get.
Well, then I'm gonna pull out. I have demolition tools.
Oh,
Let's not
okay.
blow up the lock.
Say what?
Let's not blow up the lock.
I would be willing to say that demolition tools would include something like bolt cutters because it's basically tools of destruction, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and bolt cutters are used to basically demo buildings. Like they'll cut the tops off of the bolts, right, and then like break them through, so that they can pass through stuff. So I'd be fine with that. Yeah, sure. You could have a pair of bolt
Awesome.
cutters if you're willing to check off that.
It's
that-
a 2-boxer.
Yeah, then check 2 off and
Got
and-
it.
Yeah, and you're always considered to have a normal load. So what, you get 5 boxes rather than 3?
My light is 5, my normal is 7, my heavy is 8.
Okay, and right now you have a light load, so you have 5. So you've checked off the
Right.
1 subterfuge thing, the Spirit Bane, and now a 2 check mark for the demolition
The
tools.
Spirit Bane is a 0 load.
Oh, you're good then.
Yeah.
Did you have something, Blinder?
I have a roll after they're done, based off the results. But I have a flashback roll, like after they're done with resolving the breaking of the lock.
Oh, okay. So with that, now with the bolt cutters, go ahead and do the test to break it. It is a rec test. Either Martin can do it and you can assist him, Reaper, or Reaper can do it and Martin can assist Reaper. Because you have the bolt cutters, you will be in a controlled position with great effect. So you're going from basically the worst position you were in to now the best position you could possibly be in. Actually, I'm going to say risky position because now you've spent a few minutes here and you're starting to worry that people might notice you. So I'm going to move it from controlled to risky, but you'll still have a great effect because you're using the specific type of tool that you need to, in fact, get through one of these things.
Right. Well, would the lady like a chance, or
I
do
have
you want me
3.
to?
Do you have 3?
No, that's why I'm offering the
Okay.
lady a chance,
Yeah, I'll do it.
and I'll just put a foot on it and kind of help.
Okay, so Reaper's going to roll, and Martin is assisting, so he's going to spend 1 stress to give Reaper +1 dice, I believe?
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Yep,
And he marked off the tool on his thing.
I did.
Perfect.
2 5s, a 2, and a 1.
Okay, that's a mixed success. So you clamp through it. It breaks. It does make a loud pop noise, so like the noise is heard, and the chain goes rattling to the ground.
Okay, immediately I'm going to pick up the chain and reassemble it to make it look like it's still locked. And I'm going to, like if it's like a link that broke, or how the lock sits like this.
Oh, sure,
and you
okay.
break, say, this part, I'm going to hang the chain off of it still so it looks like it's still locked.
Oh, okay, sure.
And then I'm immediately going to turn around and light a cigarette just in
Okay.
case somebody comes running or something.
Sure.
And I'm gonna hide the bolt cutters.
Okay. Blinder, you had something you wanted to do right after this. What was the thing you wanted to do?
Yeah, I want to do a flashback roll.
Okay.
So before we embarked on this little adventure,
Mm-hmm.
basically my character would have gone and tried to find out, get any sort of pertinent information, or maybe like a name, and maybe some like evidence or something that would be a hallmark sign of the gondoliers, because the idea here is that we're going to blame this on the gondoliers.
Oh,
So,
okay.
just in case somebody passes by, who was like, oh, he mentioned
Okay.
somebody's name or something like that, so they could just hear it, whatever.
Sure.
Basically, he's like trying to find out. I would like to use steady. If that
Okay.
would be okay.
Sure.
I have sway or steady. I mean, I don't know. It's a social thing, or maybe it's something where I would have gone and observed them for a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. I'm fine with either of those. Totally your choice.
Okay. Would Carver have gone with me?
Sure.
Can
Oh, sure.
we assist each other on flashback?
No, you
rolls?
can't.
Okay.
It's an individual thing that you did.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
So just 2 dice.
Yeah. Whatever your study might have been. Did you fail?
It's balls. It's 2 and a 1.
Oof.
Two and a 1. Okay, so we'll say that you, sadly, were not as successful in completing your task, which was to remind me real quick what it was again. That you were trying
Basically,
to get?
any sort of incriminating names or evidence, anything that would serve as a hallmark that he would have been able to bring along.
Oh, okay. So I'll say this. So you were able to get a name, but you weren't able to get like the hallmark thing.
Yeah, figure out how important that person was or anything else.
But you were able to get a name, so it was. Okay. But you don't have the evidence at this point in time. That's going to be something you're going to have to complete down the road. I will say though that this is an action that is relatively complicated, so it's going to cost you 2 stress to have completed it. And the name that you get is Frankie Maynard.
Frankie.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh no! Sorry, this was a name for someone. Yeah, yes. That's the correct name.
One of the
actually.
gondoliers.
For one of the gondoliers. Yes. Okay. Yeah, Frankie Maynard. That is correct. That is the correct name. Okay. So Reaper broke the thing, turned around, started smoking a cigarette. Martin is also just chilling nearby.
Pretty much.
What is Carver doing right now?
Is anybody looking?
People are walking by. No, you guys don't seem to be doing anything incredibly incriminating. So no one seems to be like standing there like gawking at you or anything. People are just walking by, heading, walking next to a wagon of some sorts, or walking with another person, that sort of thing. Dock workers, foremen, back
What's
and
the
forth to different
temperature?
places. Like the actual temperature?
In game.
It's pretty mild, almost bordering on the side of cold. There's not a whole lot of daylight, so most days are pretty cold. There's always sort of a cloud of rain overhead mixed with smog, so there's this weird humidity that happens because of the smog. So it's not overwhelming. It's sort of a brisk autumn weather, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kind of I'll look at Reaper and Martin
Mm-hmm.
and motion towards the door, and then like want me to go in?
Go ahead.
I'm just like, go. Like, why are you standing around?
I'm gonna open the door and walk in with confidence.
We weren't supposed. I'll just say it as you open the door and walk off. I'll look at Blinder. We weren't supposed to go in until later tonight. I was just gonna leave it like it was closed, and then we were gonna come back tonight.
Oops.
Oh well.
Well, we're in it now. Let's go.
Okay.
I am
Be in
following
charge of-
Carver.
I will follow in the back. I'll finish my
Okay.
cigarette, sort of, and then toss it out and just follow like a few steps behind the last person.
Okay. So you guys enter. You all enter into the warehouse, and there is cargo, tons of cargo, filling up the majority of the warehouse. There are thin walkways through each one. That seem to be just large enough to potentially move whatever's on the specific area off onto, and then presumably carried to a wagon or something of that variety. Most of everything is covered in like thick canvas drapes, covers, that sort of thing. And you don't hear any loud noises or anything weird like that, and you don't currently see anyone.
Looking at the warehouse, how much of an estimate can I do to figure out how long it's going to take us to move all this stuff?
Well, if everything that's in this warehouse is what you're here for, it would take probably an entire day or two or more with a crew of people. Okay. But that's if everything in this warehouse is the thing you're looking for, which you're not sure.
I'm going to look over at Blinder.
I'm going to look around. Can I look around with like a survey?
Sure.
And to try and see if we find any crates that look, I don't know, distinctive. So
sure.
I'm rolling this with no dice, so I'm rolling this at disadvantage.
Okay.
Nope. I see nothing.
What'd you roll?
A 1.
Okay.
Not only do you see nothing, you make up things you don't see.
Yeah, right?
I'm gonna look at Blinder.
The negative effect of that is the next roll you're going to be on is going to be down 1 position, just so you're aware, Martin. Yeah.
I'm gonna look at Blinder and like wave at everything vaguely.
I've never seen a soul jar. They're somewhere in here. There should be a clay or a ceramic vessel. I hear some have markings, some don't, but they vary in size.
Hey.
Look for anything that is protected against damage, because damaging soul jars destroys them and their purpose. So they would be well insulated or protected.
I'm gonna start looking for that.
Okay, so you're looking for
something that's well packed.
Well packed. Okay.
Well insulated,
fragile.
well packed, fragile.
Okay, so you start. Go ahead and do. I will allow you to do a survey roll or a study roll or something of that variety.
Can I do a hunt?
Sure.
Okay.
Because you are hunting for a specific type of container, we'll say.
Does anyone have anything higher than a 1 in the insight? Like for survey or hunt?
Yes, I have 2 in hunt.
Okay, so maybe somebody else should do it and then I can assist.
Okay. I can do it.
Reaper's like, wait, I'm not very perceptive. Maybe someone else should look around.
And I've already started like popping open boxes, like looking in lids, and
I'll go look for a manifest and try to assist with by trying to see.
5 and a 4.
Okay. Are you assisting Blinder?
Was it?
Yeah, I'm assisting him with my study.
So add another dice, Carver.
A Blinder walks over to a manifest and starts looking through and trying to.
Do I get a die for her? Are you assisting as well, Reaper?
Yeah, you go a die.
Yes, I am.
So.
Whoa, these boxes are pretty.
5 and a 6.
Okay. So with the help of the manifest, you can see that most of the things are accounted for, and most of them tend to be random dried goods. Nothing of great value. However, there seems to be a section of goods that are not marked on the manifest and are not accounted for.
point over to that direction. Well, because imagine Carver's probably looking through the warehouse and.
Yeah, because, presumably the manifest, it not only talks about what's in there, but it talks about where it was being stored, right? And as you're looking at it, you're like, okay, this section over here seems like it's this thing. This is what this thing is. Okay, this is, wait, but that's not on this list, right? And off in the distance, you see that there's a section of boxes and things, or, containers that are not on the manifest at all.
Try looking over there. I think it's over there somewhere.
I'll walk over there and start kind of popping open the lids.
Okay. Off to one corner of the warehouse, in a way that it's set up as though it might have been a portion of what's near it, as though it's sort of set there to not draw attention specifically to it, but because you're the manifest and you knew sort of what you were looking for, you presumed that they probably wouldn't have written on it, soul jars or something of that variety. Heading over to the containers, you pull the big canvas sheets off of them and find well-packed containers, a rather large stack of them, in fact, up to almost as tall as you. And they are not super large. Each container is actually relatively small, and they're set onto pallets, but piled somewhat high. And as you realize that the containers themselves individually are nailed shut, and you can see tufts of straw poking out of portions of them as though they got sealed inside.
I think these are it.
How much do I see now? Like, how much do I see as far as these containers, as far as how much of a cart's worth it is?
Oh, now that you are looking at, you think you know, you guys could, the entire team could probably move this in about 5 minutes.
Sweet.
It would probably be a little, like, it would, if you could get the wagon all the way in here and then load it straight into the wagon, about 5 minutes. If you've got to carry them one box at a time across the entirety of the warehouse, much longer.
Probably carry about 3 of them.
It's a big section. Think of I'm talking like big Shopco pallet size, amounts of things, where it's like, yeah, it's like, and it's a few of those, right? It's a big section, like in huge bulk.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Blinder, were you about to say something?
Yeah, Blinder will just walk over and see. He's like, this, I think this is exactly what we should. Let's get busy. I'll somebody should move him, and somebody should burn the place down.
Have a cart until dusk. That is why I wanted to keep the chain on the door until dusk, because anybody who's coming by to check will see that the door's locked, and they'll keep moving. So then once everybody's gone, then we can load the wagon, take the stuff that we need to take, and get the hell out of Dodge. So we should probably exit the warehouse. Okay, you have something to say. Go ahead.
No, I just regretting decisions.
Oh. Well, I think we should leave and pretend that the chain is still locked, and then come back at dusk.
Where is everybody
Stick
right
around
now?
and watch everybody.
Is everybody nearby the containers? I believe everyone had said they were, yes. You guys hear a voice call out through the warehouse. Hey, who's in here?
I'm gonna run towards the back door. Is it coming from that back door that we opened?
That was the front door.
Okay, I'm running out the back.
Okay. You're looking for a back door?
Wait, did we open the chain link to the front door?
Yes. The door that had the chain on it was the big sliding door, and you cracked it open and walked through it.
I'm gonna hide.
Okay. Okay, well, what is Martin doing? Can you not hear me? Oh,
Oh no, I can hear you just fine. I'm just
not really sure. I can come back to you. That's
not
fine.
really sure. Yeah, please
Blinder,
come back
what
to
are
me.
you going to do in the few moments you have?
Binder will bulk up and look over at Carver and be like, "This is what we're here for. Why I'm wearing this poofy jacket."
Okay, Carver.
Yeah, just working.
Immediately looks at him, takes the cue, and goes, "Oh yeah, it's just me."
Who's that back there?
Jason, is that you?
Frankie, I don't know.
I don't know if Frankie or Jason.
Oh,
Who am I? Who are you?
Eh,
I don't was me a Bob.
Bob?
yeah, and Jim.
Is that Bob?
No,
I think it's Jim.
You guys eventually see a guy now walk around the corner, and you see, and he's he's dressed in like Dockers like clothes, like you guys are, and he comes walking towards you. He's like, he sees the manifest in Blinder's hand, and he's just like, "Hey, who are you guys?"
I'm gonna knock him out.
You're gonna run towards him, and then try
I
to
thought
knock
he,
him.
I thought he was hella close.
No. He's still like walking towards you. It's a pretty big warehouse. So you guys are
Okay.
at the back corner.
Right.
I'm just saying that he walked around the corner and he can see you, and he looks over and sees Blinder with the manifest, and it's just like, "Who are you guys?"
Sorry,
Nice.
I'll pop up. We're pest control. There is a massive amount of rats in this warehouse, and we have been told to make sure that we get rid of them. And my companion here is very nosy.
Oh, I think you're in the wrong warehouse.
Oh snap! What warehouse is this?
I don't know either of these guys. Hey, why do you got? Give me that clipboard.
Give him the clipboard, nosy.
He walks over, and I am going to require, now that you're interacting with this guy, I am going to require a sway or something from the entire group to continue this farce.
Is he up with us now?
He's
coming slowly closer to you, yes.
Okay.
I
would
think I
like-
could champion that.
Okay. What was that, Blinder? You had something?
I was gonna sabotage the entire thing, but it's okay. Never mind.
Okay. Okay, so you guys are going to do a sway to continue your disguise farce. I mean, you obviously don't look like yourselves. So as soon as you leave and you change your clothes, this guy will never see you again, kind of a thing, right? Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what Blinder looks like right now. So a sway then, or something of that variety?
I rolled a sway.
Okay, so we'll do a group sway. Everybody roll sway.
6, 5, and
oh.
a 2.
Oh. Get
6,
lucky
5,
with
and a
those
2.
single rolls.
Okay, so that's a full
Yeah.
success for Carver.
I got a
Reaper,
5.
you got a 5. That's a mixed success. So that's all good. Blinder,
2 2s.
2 2s. Okay.
Hmm.
And Reaper.
I didn't have anything in sway, so I rolled a 4.
Oh, you have no dice in sway?
I have no dice in sway.
So you
Should I
have
even roll?
yeah. So what you do is you roll 2 dice and you take the lowest. That's how that works.
My second one was a 2.
Okay, so you got a 2. Okay, so Carver can spend 1 stress to allow you to succeed. Also, keep in mind, Martin, your next roll that will be a that will be the give you the XP is your next individual roll, so that you know it wasn't for this group action.
Right.
Yeah, your
I
next
wasn't
desperate
counting.
action. Basically, I was letting you
Right.
know that the next action you took as an individual was going to end up be a desperate action because you're still sort of like discombobbled from this whole experience, right?
That's fine.
Yeah. So because of that, Carver spends it. You all succeed. You're continuing with this farce. It isn't. None of you are being so awkward that it just completely breaks it. And he's like, "Wait, what is going on here?" And you're able to following Carver's lead, pretend to be these characters that you've put upon your faces. So we will just continue the role play now. So at this point, he's now almost to you. He has his hand out like he wants the manifest, and then he's reaching out, expecting it to be handed to him. Do you hand him the manifest?
He looks over at Carver,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, Frankie said, okay, there.
Takes the manifest. Did you say Frankie?
No, I didn't say that.
Frankie,
you?
Frankie's like 2 warehouses down. You guys are in the wrong warehouse. Oh,
No.
shit. Don't you hate that? You know, I was working for a guy like 2 weeks back, and the same shit happened to me. And I walked on in, started moving boxes, and he was just like, hey, what are you doing? Happens all the time. It's all good, guys. Hey, so you're here with them. Yeah, I mean, you saw the manifest.
All these warehouses look the same.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. Hey, next time, though, you know, if you don't have the key to the lock, maybe presume that means you're at the wrong place, right? I'm going to have to get a new lock for the door now.
Sorry, we didn't want to get fired.
Hey, I understand. I know how it can be. I get it. Anyways, though, like I said, Frankie's 2 warehouses down, so I think you're in the wrong place there. So, I'll walk you out. No harm, no foul. Doesn't seem like you broke anything or anything, so, you know, we can just chalk this up.
We better get over to Frankie's warehouse, all right, guys?
Yeah.
You know Jerry, he can be a fucking hot ass.
I don't know Jerry, but yeah, I mean, it sounds like you should probably get that done.
And we will make sure it gets done to the right place.
You doing okay there, bud?
Huh? Yeah, no, yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Cool. Well, let's walk on out. He says, and he takes you all out of the warehouse.
Yeah.
As you get out there, he points out. He's like, "Yeah, like 2 warehouses down that way. I think that's probably what you're looking for."
Oh,
I'll walk
okay.
down that way.
Have a good one.
Lost.
He slides the door shut, throws the chain over it, and he's like, "God, now I gotta find a new lock." And then he starts like walking off, like he's heading over to another place or something.
Hopefully he won't find a lock by dusk.
And if he does, I still got the blade. You know, I still got the trippers.
Mm-hmm.
Yay. Okay, so let's have some lunch.
Sure.
Sounds good to
So I
me.
will say that you guys found containers that were not on the manifest, but none of you had opened them to see what it was that you were looking for. I do want to remind you of that. So even though it was definitely something shady going on, you're not for sure at this point if it was in fact the soul jars inside of the box. But with all the things having combined together, Blinder's experience with the ghost, you presume that is probably the right warehouse. All things combined, basically.
We have one of 2 options. We can assume that they are the correct ones, and I will say this once there's no one around to be
Yeah.
hearing.
I presume you guys like disappear off, trying to like not get noticed or whatever, and then you slip out of your disguises back into your normal sort of clothes, right?
Going to have
Yeah.
a street taco.
Yeah.
So we can assume
Street
that
taco is more like a rat street taco. It's nothing super fancy. It's very gamey. It's
So what
mushrooms and more like a stir fry of mushrooms and meat. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Please continue, Reaper.
So we can either assume that this is the correct shipment and just wait till dusk, or one of us can make it back in there and take a look at the boxes while the rest of us make sure that the door looks locked.
I mean, who's sneaky?
Not me.
I am not. You're sneaky, Blinder?
No,
Oh.
I believe I can. I found a way. I believe I could get in myself.
And you raised your hand, Carver, so you sneaky?
Well,
'Cause,
there's no way he's recognizing us now that we've got all that makeup off.
True, but if we're gonna do Reaper's idea, because that actually sounds good to me.
But
If
what-
we're
None
going to
of
be doing Reaper's idea, because that sounds good to you, complete the thought.
that was the thought. Were you not listening?
So, well, we need somebody in there that can actually identify if it is what we're looking for, and I think that might be Blinder.
Right. So what I was saying is that the two of you, since you're sneaky, you go in, check to make sure it's what it is, so that we can come back later again and, well, rob them half blind.
No, reallocate.
I think we're
Meh.
concerned about security. We're concerned about hauling them out. We're gonna need 2 people at least to haul the shipments if they are what they are, right? That would be Reaper and Martin. Mr. Carver obviously is the best at diverting attention, being skilled at conversation. So why don't I enter? I can enter. I'm absolutely 100% sure I can get in without any obstacles, barring my entry. I go in, I identify, I open up the gate from the inside, and then we do what we need to do to haul them out. And while that is going on,
How do you open up the gate from the inside if it's locked from the outside?
there's an entry door. There's got to be a door somewhere with a lock on the inside, a normal lock.
Well, the large bay door was locked on the outside.
Was there only one door into this
No,
place?
there was another smaller, normal, like person door. You guys just went in through the big bay door because it had a big lock on it.
I'll just use the small.
Okay. So that still means that they're going to have to cut their way through the new lock if it exists to get the cart in there.
Repeat that.
To get the cart inside, we'd still need to cut open the large door's chain. And that's assuming that he finds a replacement for the lock, but I'm going with worst case scenarios here.
Okay, so we wait till dusk and see what the environment is like, and then we will deal with it as it comes. We'll plan ahead and either come prepared to cut the lock and take what we need to take, or we carry it. Worst case scenario.
I think we should also be prepared to have someone stand by until it's time to make sure that they don't move anything.
That's a really good idea.
I can. Damn it.
If he tips them off that we were in there, whether or not they know it was us, they could freak out and move the shipment ahead of time.
That's fair. I'll stay.
Yeah, you're the only one that doesn't have a mark on your back. At least a big one.
Fair.
Wow, we're all wanted. This is amazing.
Some of you are not openly, publicly wanted, but sure.
Is anything but amazing. Anyway, let's get down to the detail and plan.
Now, having found that location, they have returned back to their safe place of respite, and are now have planned the next leg of their mission. And so, with that in mind, all of your loadouts have refreshed. So at this point, I would ask, what amount of load would each of you like to take onto this score?
I'm going with a normal.
A normal, okay, and that's your normal, not the light that is a normal.
Right.
Okay,
my
cool.
my normal is 7.
Yes, which is usually like a heavy. Reaper.
I'll take a normal as well.
Okay.
Which is a 5 for me.
Okay. Blinder.
Taking a light.
Okay. And Carver.
I'll take a normal.
Okay. So for this mission, you are planning. Is your detail? What is your detail for your plan? So the way that this works, to remind you, is that there are a number of different types of plans that you can choose to engage in, and you, the crew, provides the detail that you would like to include. The detail could be the point of attack, the method of deception, the point of infiltration, the arcane method, should this be magical, the social connection, or perhaps the route and means. What is the detail that you would like to provide?
Well, I mean, stealth would probably be best.
Michael, did you say at the end the route and means? So like the route, ROUTE?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I'd say the route and means, because that's what
We
this
can
is
get all the
about.
stuff on the cart and lose them in the streets.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I think based on the conversation, we were mostly doing a stealth detail, a stealth approach. We were sneaking in. I was going to infiltrate in, and then we were going to try to get stuff off without being noticed after burning it down.
Sure. Yes. That is totally fair. Because Doug, or Blinder, is correct. This specific detail is usually the initial point of the score. So it would be the initial point that you're planning to take. So the route and means, although makes sense for the overall score, the route and means may not apply to the initial portion of this specific score, because it's going to be something that you will eventually do once you've established the goods and gotten them for yourselves and brought them in, right? So that could be like just something to keep in the back of your head for your plan for how you will be escaping, which is totally fine. But with that, so I presume then that you're planning to do a stealth mission, and your point of infiltration is going to be where?
The front big doors, right?
I have I'll be entering in through arcane means,
How is that?
and then letting people in. My thing, my ritual.
Oh, you're going to use that.
Yeah, it was. Just spoil the surprise.
Oh, I'm not spoiling anything, but sure.
Yeah.
Because you can't, I'm not going to let you do that until the engagement roll is over. So you will be able to do so once the score is in action. Okay, cool. Okay, so the engagement roll. Do you feel as though as a crew that you have any sort of major advantage in this specific instance?
We're unknowns.
We planned to be
And we did set up the lock so that hopefully we don't have to unlock it again. We've readied the mark.
Okay, so you feel that you've potentially exposed a point of vulnerability, having potentially weakened the entrance. Okay, that's
Yep.
cool. And then what was
And
your...
having?
Go ahead.
I also feel like we've also discerned where the objects are, so that's also kind of adding a point of weakness.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay. So it is now dusk. The crew has spent their time preparing. They had met the appropriate man that Reaper had hired earlier. They had made the exchange, paid him the amount that he was owed, and now they have the wagon waiting a few spaces down the warehouse so as to not draw attention to themselves, I presume, at first. I will presume Martin is with the wagon. Blinder is nearby the warehouse because he had planned to try and infiltrate. Reaper is somewhere close by, probably providing him backup. And Carver, will say, is across the street, keeping eyes on both directions to see what is going on, just in case someone needs to be dissuaded or, some distraction needs to take place. Blinder is at the door and realizes that the lock has been replaced. There is a new lock there. It seems bigger and sturdier than the previous one had been. Blinder finds himself preparing for his ritual, I believe.
Well, he's already prepared it, so all he has to do is trigger it.
Mhm.
But he looks at the lock,
Mm-hmm.
and he looks back at the group,
Mm-hmm.
and he slips off to the side. Trying to remember, because he wasn't in the warehouse for very long.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to remember where things were,
Okay.
and then he's gonna try to stay out of the sight, but like I would imagine at least one person. He's not a stealthy person, so I'd imagine
Sure.
at least one person in the group would probably see him.
Sure.
Whoever I could leave to you. Whoever that is, I could leave to you.
Well, I believe Reaper was nearby watching your back, so I'll presume Reaper probably sees.
Okay. So what Reaper sees, he looks both ways, thinking he's like not being seen, and he starts looking like he's like clutching his stomach. You notice he starts to convulse, like he's like about ready to throw up. And she hears a small bird like screeching from his stomach, and then like some feathers come out, and he's like blah, blah, and he throws up, but instead of like what you would expect, like bird guts or anything like that, like vomit, there's this black mist that emanates out of his nose and out of his mouth, and basically hurls itself down with almost like a gravity that mist shouldn't have, landing at his feet. You see feathers that were white but are stained with blood come pouring out in addition, and this mist engulfs him. Right, you still see a coalesce around his form, and then he
literally disappears into what looks like a singularity. And then there's nothing left of Blinder.
Yeah.
It seems like ash falls beneath him where he once stood.
with a couple feathers, pigeon feathers.
Sort of slowly, and then they hit the ground. Blinder finds himself standing inside the darkened warehouse, and he's standing at the very top of one of the piles of cargo. He's at least 15 feet in the air.
Now, I do have to take 1 level of harm.
Yes, you do.
So he did cut himself before
Yes.
he did that. She didn't see that, obviously.
Yes.
Do I just write that down under level 1, like cut?
We will call it weakened.
Okay. So okay, he'll look around
Mm-hmm.
and he'll go over to the front door, the normal office door, or whatever.
So
you know,
he's
the normal
he's
size
climbing. He's climbing down the big pile of thing he's standing on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Door. It's like ow, fuck.
As soon as he makes that noise and he's like, "Ow, fuck," he immediately hears people talking inside.
Shit. Okay, so he will now attempt to go silently.
Okay.
Actually, he'll wait for a second
Mm-hmm.
and then wait to he'll basically study the scene
Mm-hmm.
and try to determine okay, this wood might creak here, this might do this, you know what I mean? It's like really observing the path he's going to and projecting out the path he's going to take that will be the least quiet. So I can use study. I would like to use study.
Sure.
He's like,
I will
"There's
allow
stuff
you
in
to
the
use study for sure. You described it well enough that I'm totally fine with it. Yeah.
It's like this wood will hold this weight, it'll creak, it's this
Yeah.
much moisture. When he goes off of this, this sound will echo off. This echolocation should absorb, this barrier here because of this crate should absorb the sound.
Sure.
People are facing this way.
It will be a risky standard action. Normal.
All right. It's okay if you say it's desperate or something like that.
No,
only so much
you described in the fiction how it makes sense, and that is usually what sets the role, right? If it's something that's so far gone it doesn't make sense, but that explanation makes sense as a way that Blinder would go about trying to perform this action. So yeah, please.
Blinder conquers things through science.
Science.
4 and a 1.
A what?
4 and a 1.
A 4 and a 1, so a mixed success. Okay, so because of the way in which Blinder is moving, he will successfully move down the pile across the room and then find himself at the door. However, he realizes the complication now is that if he opens the door, it will create noise. It is a large metal door, rusted hinges. Although it still seems to be strong, it's obvious that if he opens it, it will make a creaking noise. He's not sure how far it will carry, but it's not going to be completely silent.
He'll open the door.
Okay.
He's like, I hope this
Reaper, about 20 seconds later, after you saw Blinder just disappear into nothingness, the door opens.
Do I see anything beyond? Do I see anything beyond the open door?
Does she see anything beyond the open door, Blinder?
Yeah, she sees Blinder. He's like, come here.
He motions you
Okay.
inside.
I'm running over there.
So Reaper makes her way to the door. She's there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Two things. One, they just heard her. Two, there's a bigger lock. And then he gets himself behind her.
Okay.
Where's Martin and Carver right now?
Martin is down with the wagon, and Carver is across the street. Are you signaling to them? I mean, because they can all see you. Like, I presume all of you are keeping eyes on each other just in case shit goes bad, right? So I
Yeah,
presume
I'll
you could
signal
easily
them.
signal Martin and be like, get over here, kind of
Yeah,
a thing.
I'll be like,
Okay, I'm gonna rush over, grabbing my knife
Okay.
and readying myself at the side of the door.
Okay. In the
Martin-
inside of the side of the door or the outside?
Which way does the door open? Does it open out towards the street, or does it open in towards the warehouse?
It opens out towards the street.
Okay, then outside, I will wait outside of the door.
Okay.
Martin is kind of looking there, like, points at the cart. You want this too, or picks up the cart and trucks it on over.
I'm
Okay.
gonna motion to you, Reaper, and to you, Blinder, to move off to the other side of the door. And I'm at the section of the door that opens.
Okay. So Carver's watching the door then, from the outside. Blinder and Reaper have moved inside after signaling Martin. Martin is on his way over. What are you doing next?
So there's a bigger lock, right?
On the big sliding door, yes. There's a bigger, more hefty lock, it looks like.
Okay, is there anybody inside that I can hear?
Yes, you do hear some laughter inside. Like some people like joking around and talking and stuff.
How many voices?
It's hard to tell because of the way that the sound is echoing. Because it's a big space.
Okay, I'm going to look at Blinder and tell him, I'll just whisper over to him, you should go check and see how many people are here.
Me?
You said you were sneaky.
Yes, I did. Absolutely.
Now we need to work on the lock.
Door?
On there's a bigger lock on the big door, so we can't. Well, do you think that we can quietly move these pallets with us to the cart?
Are you talking to me or to Carver?
No, I'm talking to Carver and
Okay.
Martin.
Okay.
Oh,
These guys
or
are-
I could just go in there and we beat the fuck out of them.
We want to do it quietly.
Oh,
I mean,
God
we will
damn it.
fight if we have to, but
That's
if we
right.
can do it
That's-
quietly and clean.
Apologies, I forgot. Well, I mean, I know I can probably carry, a good chunk of stuff.
So can I. So, Michael, how long do I think it's going to take us to walk stuff out of the warehouse? The stuff that we need out of the warehouse.
If you're taking all of the boxes and putting them onto the wagon, probably half an hour or more. If you're walking them all the way down, because you'd be walking them maybe 1 or 2 boxes at a time, depending on the person and their strength.
Look, how good are you guys at knocking people out?
Very good.
Very well, very, very proficient.
While this conversation's going on between these three, I had been going. So after they're done discussing,
Oh, go ahead and do that roll then.
okay.
Feeling for some hot stuff.
Please continue role-playing while he does that roll.
So, if one of you wanted to go and break the lock, and one of you wanted to come with me, there might be a chance that we could knock them out, drag them out silently, without anyone being the wiser.
I'm not using steady. I'm using prow, which
Sure.
I'm unskilled at.
Okay.
So I think that that's a good idea, Carver. Martin, do you want to try the lock, or do you want to go with Carver?
Or we could all run in there, knock them all out if there's multiple people, and then fuck with the lock later.
I say fuck with the lock later.
Okay, give us a minute. We're waiting for Blinder to come back and tell us how many he can see.
Right.
Blinder.
Okay, so initially he started making his way across the room, using the same route, basically.
Sure.
And then he stops when he starts to get close to them.
Sure.
And there's a look that goes across his face. And he looks back towards the group.
Mm-hmm.
And he sits there debating for a second. And then he decides to try to he decides to try to actually sneak.
Okay.
Moving forward, I rolled a 2 and a 1.
Okay.
And considering the fact that I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing,
Sure.
because I'm unskilled, so it's the lowest.
Yep.
Or it's a 1. Sorry,
Yeah.
2 and 1.
Yeah.
So more or less intentional, causes noise near them.
Okay. So all of you are sitting there talking. Blinder goes walking off, right, to try and like look and see what he can see. And then as you guys can see like a shadow disappear around a corner for a second, and then you hear a box fall basically, just and hit the ground and crunch. And then you just hear kind of like a oh shit.
Does it sound like him?
The oh shit? It's
Yeah.
whispered. It's close enough that you could hear it, so you presume.
I'm gonna go handle this. Martin takes sprinting off down the hallway into the warehouse.
I'm gonna put away the knife and I'm gonna grab a rag and a bottle.
Okay, so just to clarify, really quick here, there's no hallways. It is a vast, open, giant warehouse, and there are rows, which are like hallways, of goods in big boxes on big pallets with things.
That's what I meant.
Okay, cool. I'm just making sure that everyone knows kind of where they are, so they're aware of their surroundings, you know, just in case it becomes important. And so what you saw was Blinder walk off around the corner, and keep in mind, this is the same corner that the individual had walked around earlier when you all were here and had started talking to you. So there's a very long path that he had walked all the way down with the whole clipboard fiasco and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so your plan, because Blinder had dropped a box over near that corner, your plan is just to go running down the open thoroughfare? Is that what your plan is, Martin?
Is to get to wherever I hear the noise from the people inside. If I hear that,
Okay.
I heard voices talking, right?
Yeah, you heard some voices echoing in the inside, and there is a light off in the distance, yes.
Yeah, so I'm making my way toward that.
Okay, so you are just going to run down the open thing then?
Sure.
Okay, because you said you were sprinting, so I presume you're not going through little narrow things, you're like running down the thing.
No.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm just double checking. Okay, so what was Reaper doing?
I'm debating, can I pass and then come back to me?
Sure. Because Carver, anything?
I'm gonna pull out from my subterfuge kit
Mm-hmm.
a bottle with a clear tincture and 2 rags. I will wet them and toss one of the rags to Reaper.
Reaper will
Okay,
catch it.
I'm laughing so hard right now. That I'll have to tell that story later, but this is not the first time this has happened with one of Xylus's characters. It's the night juice. Yeah, go ahead and mark that off on your character sheet. I know what it is. I'm pretty sure I know exactly what you're doing. I would like to point out, before Martin goes sprinting down the thing, no one has been noticed yet. Blinder is out of sight. So I do want to point out to Martin, this is why I was bringing this up, is because Martin, at this point, if you run out, then you are the one, in a sense, spoiling the surprise, right? And I know that Martin is intelligent enough to understand that.
Right.
So at this point, I could see him like sprinting to a place where he could like lie in ambush, and I'm totally good with that. I'm just saying that if Martin, because they haven't seen any of you at this point, just a box fell. Maybe they'll think it's an animal or, whatever the case may be, right? But if Martin does go running around the corner, they will for sure know that someone is here because here comes a dude running down the thing at us, right?
Right. Then I will go about like 4 or 5 pallets in
Okay.
and try and find a space that I can tuck myself in.
Sure. I mean, if you want to
Near
just
there.
sprint down the thing and go handle business, that's
No,
totally an understandable thing too.
No, I misunderstood. I thought box fell, they jumped up, started, they noticed.
Oh yeah, no, they didn't notice you guys yet because you're out of
Okay.
sight, right?
Right.
So I'm glad I clarified that because I thought that you were just like, well, fuck it, and you were just like,
No,
let's
no.
do it. Yeah, right.
It wasn't trying to just fuck it.
Okay, cool. Like just YOLO it. YOLO.
Yeah, right.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Blinder, did you have something?
Do I notice Martin?
Martin comes up, you see him sprint, and he comes right into the opening near you, which is out of sight of them, like through the small little spaces between the different rows and things, and he's just sort of hooking his way through them, and then goes around a corner like he's lying in ambush, basically.
Blinder will like look back at him,
Mm-hmm.
get his attention,
Mm-hmm.
and he'll be like, and point to Martin, and go shh, and then tell
And then
him,
Martin will flip him off.
and then Blinder will turn and proceed with this noisy, trying to faux stealth.
I mean, he's
All
already
right.
succeeded at that.
No, he'll go right up to the people like he's trying to ambush them or something. He's
Okay.
stealthing around, but he's
Mhm.
not making a big deal out of.
Okay. So he's going to continue moving towards the people. Is Reaper, are you doing anything in the meantime?
No, I'm just standing exactly where I am, kind of frozen, with a
Okay.
rag in my hand.
Okay. And Carver, you're doing the same thing. I presume you're not standing where you were, which is near the door. I presumed you guys are like moving to a place where you're out of sight. Okay.
I'll be
Reaper,
like, hey,
Reaper follows Carver's cue or something. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that.
Okay, cool. Just checking. And Blinder goes wandering off, drawing attention to himself.
He's not obvious. Like, all right, so they would think he's just doing a really intentionally bad job at being stealthy. Right? So he's causing noise,
Mm-hmm.
but he's just like anybody who like if they hear him, they would probably think that he was trying to sneak. It's like you hear no footsteps, and then someone bumps into a champagne bottle. You're like, oh fuck, shh.
Oh, okay. He's trying to act like almost like a drunk person trying to be stealthy.
Pretty much.
It's kind of okay. I see what you're saying. So, with that, all of you are taking points of ambush, and an individual does come walking up at this point to the box and is like, "What the fuck?" And they start looking around, and you have a moment, Blinder, where you have to make a decision. Will you walk out in front of this guy, or will you actually hide?
He will act like he's hiding, but he'll be so goddamn noisy when he's doing it that he's going to get caught.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. Is like there's a point where you can see him, and if you draw attention to yourself, he will turn and see you. That's what I'm asking. I'm asking, will you actually be noisy in that moment, and then he draw his attention, or will you actually fall into stealth, and he may potentially not even see you? So I'm just the choice is yours. What would you like to do?
Something that's going to draw attention to himself. So he basically acts like he's going to hide.
Like slips or something? Okay. You're muted right now.
Oh, and then he obeys into something, and then something crashes, and the
Sure.
guy turns, and he's just standing there like, "You caught me." Yeah.
Okay. The guy immediately pulls out like a billy club and then just comes at Blinder.
How
Blinders.
far away is that?
From you guys?
Yeah.
I want to say about 15-ish feet.
Blinder's gonna fall to his knees and start crying.
Okay.
He's like, "Don't kill me!" Ah!
You hear
He's
some other voices that say, "What is going on?" And he's like, like he walks up to you like he was about to smack you, and you start crying, and he just stops for a second, like,
I'm like, "Oh please, don't do it! Oh my god, don't kill me!"
Can I rush up in this moment of confusion and just like?
I'm rushing. I am rushing away from all of this confusion and going right to that lock. I'm going to start tinkering with the lock as soon as I get there.
Okay, so you're going back outside to where the lock is on the chain? Okay.
Yep.
If you go, well, I will point out though, from your hiding point, if you go to the door right now, because of where they're standing, the guy will see you go to the door.
Never mind.
So you're gonna wait then? Okay.
I'm gonna
just
wait.
just keep in mind this is like imagine a big cube, right? Like a narrow space, and the door is on that far end, right? And so Blinder basically caused the noise right at that little turn there. So the guy standing right there can see the door in his view.
Okay.
But all of you have basically moved around boxes and things and or like in Martin's case, are hidden within the sort of labyrinth of spaces between and are hiding out of sight.
I thought that they had gone around the corner and then a little bit further.
It's wide enough that he can sort of, based from where he's standing, he could probably see the door. He is paying far more attention to Blinder at this point because Blinder is literally like crying in front of this guy, and so he's looking at Blinder and then looking away from the door. So you could try to sneak over to the door and perhaps he wouldn't notice you.
I'm not risking it.
Okay, not risking it. Okay, totally fine.
Can I make a roll to what sort of skill would it be to non-verbally, without tipping my hand that I'm communicating with somebody, to non-verbally communicate in a very simple fashion, like wait or just hold on to Martin and Carver?
You could try like adding it into what you're saying to the guy, maybe.
Just wait. I'll tell you anything you want to know. I'll tell you who sent me.
He's like, someone sent you? Who sent you? Tell me who sent you.
Frankie sent me. I was supposed to burn the entire place down. I'm so sorry. I'm not even getting paid well.
Who the fuck is Frank?
Don't kill me.
Frankie sent you? Wait, which Frankie? Hold on. And he walks up to you and he grabs you by the shirt, stands you up, and then like pulls you like out of the little like space you're in and like pulls you into the open here. And he's like, you come with me. You come with me. Come on. And he starts walking you towards the group. Like he's trying to pull you along.
Are you welcoming me to the rest of your friends?
Yeah.
Try and be sneaky and not laugh his ass off. Martin will be sneaky and try and follow Blinder and the dude.
I will need a prowl check from you, sir.
I don't have prowl, so
he hasn't noticed you. And you can take your time, so you are in it's not desperate or anything like that. You are in a control position.
I am desperate from the last.
Oh, from the last thing. Oh, this is a new mission. Go ahead. What's up?
Can I see Martin from where I'm hiding?
No. Martin went off down in the things, and you're like around a corner. I mean, you could look down and try to find him.
I will do that, but still keeping way away from the guy's line of sight, so he can't.
Well, the guy now has Blinder and is turned completely away from the door and is walking Blinder towards the back corner of the warehouse. So he's definitely not paying attention at this point.
Okay, I'm going to find Martin. That's what I'm going to do sneakily.
Okay, so you're going to go sneaking further into the spaces between. And we'll say, after a bit, Martin, what are you planning to do here? Because just to check in.
I had planned to sneak in between the pallets.
Okay, so you will catch a glimpse of Martin moving between, because he's not trying to hide from you guys. He's trying to hide from the people over there, right? So he's taking a pathing that hides himself from them, but you'll probably see him at some point in time. So yeah.
Right.
I'll try to pss, 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 like a cat.
Meow. What? Make my way back over. What?
We should probably work on the lock while he keeps them busy, so that we can get the cart in here, and once we get the cart in here, we can beat these people down.
Well, I mean, and what happens if they start beating up Blinder right now before?
Have you seen what Blinder can do?
You got a good point. I start making my way back toward the door.
He can handle himself.
He can get. He's done. No.
Okay, Carver. What are you doing? Are you still lying in wait in the place you were at, or are you moving closer to the group?
I'm moving closer. I am
Okay.
sneaky.
Okay, so you see Reaper and Martin heading back down to the door, and
I'm
then
like-
you go sneaking towards, or what?
No, I'm sneaking closer towards Blinder.
Okay, basically
I
like
know
backing
where
him
the
up or something.
bagheads are.
Sure, yeah.
I will look at Carver and just be like,
They just
It's
keep
like
waving back and forth.
It's like Grand Theft charades.
Right?
I'm gonna not wait for his response, and I'm just gonna make my way to the lock, and I'm gonna start concentrating on the lock with Martin.
Okay, so you go back out the door to back outside the warehouse. You guys come around the front of it, and now you're sitting in front of the lock and chain. Okay, at this point, Carver, what are you planning to do? You see them go back out the door, and obviously they're heading back to the lock outside the big sliding door.
I am gonna keep an eye on Blinder,
Okay.
and I'm gonna try to get into an advantageous position and try to figure out from my hiding spot how many dudes there are.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and do a prowl check. You are in a controlled position because you are able to take all the time in the world to sneak, and they are obviously paying attention to the whimpering, screaming Blinder. 2 force, so a mixed success. You are able to stealth your way through the entire center area. You're nearby. How far away did you want to get? Like 10 feet?
Probably about like 15, 10.
Okay, yeah.
15, 10 feet.
15 feet is good. You have enough space.
A knife's throw away.
Sure.
I'm thinking.
Okay. Yeah, 15 feet is a good distance. You're far enough away that you can be behind some of the containers and they can't see you openly, but close enough that you could act should something go bad. So back to Blinder. Blinder gets dragged down this thing, and when he gets to the end of it, he sees 4 other people standing around a burn barrel, a bit of smoke flickering out of it, light coming off of it. There are bottles, half empty. They are sitting on like what look like overturned empty crates or something, or even some of them are sitting on the actual boxes nearby. And the guy drags you up to the rest of the group and is like, "I found this one, and he said Frankie sent him."
Blinder's gonna look more terrified. Well, he's genuinely terrified.
Okay. One of the people, a bigger guy, built like I don't even know how to describe it. Like if there was a way to say someone is all back, this guy is all back.
He's built like a brick shit house.
Yeah, I mean he's built like a rower, you know, like he's rowed a boat for a very long time. He's very
Massive triceps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Laughs for days.
Yeah, definitely a rower in that sort of way, right? Comes walking up to you. Which Frankie?
I'm sorry. He works for the gondoliers. Don't kill me. I'm homeless.
What Frankie?
Frankie, the gondoliers. They wanted. They said they would pay me to destroy or burn down this place.
Did they tell you what this place was?
Yeah. They said they laughed. They said it would. They said it would. I asked them why. I'm not an arsonist. I'm homeless. But they said that if I was able to do it, they would pay me and feed me. I'm sorry. They said it was protected by a gang who thought that would be their friends. But
Okay, I
realized
need you
now-
to roll a challenge, a sway, whatever you feel would be most appropriate. But it's definitely, it's how well you can keep this ruse up. Because this is a moment where there's a long moment where he's looking at you, and you realize that if you fake, if it becomes obvious that you're faking it, he might smell some bullshit, right?
And he might stab me.
Well, he might, yeah.
Really, really badly. Okay, so I'm going to, because I'm not in a position to really be assisted by anybody.
That's fair.
I'm going to try. I would offer a devil's bargain.
Sure. What is the bargain?
I think that this Frankie will somehow find out and come after me.
Okay.
Or, eventually, well, I don't know what kind of clock that would be, but
Okay. I'm good with that.
okay. 4, 2, and 2.
4, 2, and a 2. Mixed success. He stares at you for a long moment. I knew that Frankie Maynard was full of shit, he says, and the rest of his guys are like, what do you think? If he hired
He
some...
was? Oh, yes.
What do you
He
mean
was.
he was? He is full of shit. He hired you, some fucking street guy, to come in here and start some shit.
I heard him laugh about it. He thought he was going to get some sort of it was going to be really good move or something. I was really confused because aren't you? They said they were your friends. You're really not kind friends.
So we're going to stop there for a moment. Carver, what are you doing? I saw you raise your hand.
I was gonna. So, am I behind some boxes?
Yeah, you're behind like
How-
some crates and things like that.
How close could I get, kind of inching forward, to get to a position where I could jump on backstrap guy?
The closest that you could get is, I want to say something like 7-ish feet. Because there is one last big container that is between you and them, right? From the place you're at. That would be your last area of cover. And that's about 7-8 feet away. So from there, that would be the closest point where you can't be seen before you would have to risk being in the open. It will be a prowl challenge, though, to sneak up to that spot, because you are starting to be in an area where there are multiple people now looking around. At least for the time being, you hear them talking.
How many of them do I see?
From where you're standing, you can see 4.
No guts, no glory. I'm gonna rush in, and I'm gonna be like, Frankie sends his regards, motherfucker! I'm gonna jump on the backstrap guy and try to fucking cloth him out.
Okay.
Drop cloth.
Okay. He's definitely surprised. So, back to Blinder for a moment here. It's obvious now that he's bought your ruse. He starts talking to the guys about Frankie. He's like, fucking Frankie Maynard set this whole thing up. You guys don't realize that means he's totally fucked us. We got to get the fuck out of here. Let's get the shipment. Let's get the fuck out of here, okay? Hey, you guy? Be lucky you didn't succeed. Now fuck off, okay?
Okay.
And so he's like saying all that, and then Carver, as he turns away, Carver comes rushing out. I will stop right there for a moment. Reaper and Martin, who are currently working on the door. You hear some voices being exchanged, much more intensely inside now.
I'm working on the door harder.
Okay. So what is the plan for breaking the lock this time?
Does it look like a pair of bolt cutters that will take this lock out, or?
Give it a little time, maybe? Sure.
Ooh.
How about the links of the chain?
I mean, it's still...
Could do that.
You could try.
Okay, we're gonna try the links of the chain first.
Okay.
Sure. I'll click off the demolition tools again.
Okay.
It's not like we can melt them with hot gas. We don't have that.
Nope.
We don't have that kind of tech in our hands.
Nope. That sort of tech doesn't even really exist, other than Sparkrights with their, blowtorches, sort of things.
Right. So I'm gonna clip the chains, but I'm gonna say, I'm just gonna start clipping chains around the lock.
I'll be doing the same thing. So we'll both be acting at the same time, right?
Yep.
Sure.
Okay.
So one of you basically be the person who's rolling, and then the other person be the assistant.
Oh.
I'll roll. I got 3.
Oh. Yeah, but I don't have that much stress left.
Okay.
Oh, it's okay. I have 3 as it sits. I don't need, or I the 4th one doesn't really matter if you don't have the stress.
Well, I'm taking it anyway, because I want this to fucking work.
Fair.
Okay, so he takes the 1 stress.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead and add a die.
Six, 4, 3, 2.
Okay, that is a full success. Okay. Go ahead and roll again. This is representing a time challenge over time.
2 6s, a 4, and a 1.
A critical success?
Yes.
Okay. Holy moly. Okay, so with the critical success, that is enough. I basically made a temporary clock for the time being. With the critical success, that is enough to complete it. So now we go back as you snap open the lock, unfurling the chain, bringing the wagon over. We now go back to Blinder and Carver. Carver comes screaming out from the darkness. Go ahead and roll your challenge roll, friend.
Okay. The challenge was prowess, right?
It would be a combat-related skill. So skirmish, etc., etc.
Oh, okay. So then, yeah, I will use, I'll use skirmish.
Okay.
I got a 5.
Okay, a mixed success. So you jump on his back, you grab onto him. You are able to grapple onto him in a sense, but he is struggling against you, and he's a big dude. He is struggling against you, and you are not able to get your night juice your night juice cloth over his face to where it would knock him out. So you are currently grabbing him though, and he is definitely struggling against you. But at this point in time, you definitely do not have the night juice on his face.
Oh.
Okay, Blinder, are you doing something?
Blinder will produce a knife
Okay.
and attempt to attack
Who?
whoever's in front of him.
Well, the nearest guy is the big guy that Carver jumped on the back of, and then there is 4 other guys nearby as well. It is a target-rich environment. I mean, they're not super close, but...
He'll stab the super big guy.
Okay, where are you stabbing him?
I don't think he's really knows how to aim yet.
Okay.
So he's just gonna
No!
So you might accidentally hit Carver. Okay.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Oh,
Go ahead and do a skirmish
gonna be
roll.
good.
Skirmish or wreck or something like that.
2 dice, choose the lowest.
Oh, jeez. A 2.
2 and a 3.
Okay.
At least it wasn't a 1.
That is true.
That's true.
So, you go to try and stab into the big guy, and as you do, Carver, the guy moves Carver just in time. You almost stab Carver. Carver sees the knife and kicks it out of your hand, keeping himself from getting stabbed. But, you know, happily, you don't actually stab one of your teammates. So, yeah. Reaper and Martin, you've opened the door, I presume. Are you bringing the wagon in, or are you still in stealth mode? Like, what is happening?
No,
we're
we're bringing the wagon in. Loud and
Okay, so
proud.
chain is off, thing is open. You're bringing the wagon in. Are you closing the door behind you, or just leaving it wide?
Leaving it wide open because
Okay, cool.
this is going to be a
So at this
firefight.
point, I presume you're running the wagon back towards that area? Okay,
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
So with that, back to Carver. Carver.
Carver is going to struggle a little bit more
Okay.
and try to get that cloth over his face.
Okay, go ahead.
It's fucking night time.
Okay.
Such intensity.
Right?
So a bit of the story while he's rolling real quick. Before we had done this game, we had done sort of a tutorial game, a little like one-shot sort of thing. And in the one-shot, his other character, not Carver, it was a different character completely, knocked someone out with this night-night juice. And it was great.
Say you had to be there.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those you had to be there, so I know it's not as funny explaining it. I'm just saying that I'm explaining why I laughed so hard about it was...
Because at first everybody was like, "Can you do that?" And I was
Yeah.
like, it says
Yeah.
it's a kid." for
Yeah.
s-
He's a specific tools thing, and he was like, would it be okay if I said these tools give me chloroform? I was like... I searched through the book, I didn't find anything, and then I was like, sure. You know what? Let's do it. Anyways, okay, so what was your roll?
6.
A 6? Full success? Okay, you get it tightly over his mouth, and he's starting to breathe, but he's still trying to fight you. He's a big dude, so he's not going down that quick. Blinder.
I'm going to look around for anything that might be like because it's lit here, so there's a lantern somewhere, right?
Yes, there is a lantern, and then the fire thing. The fire barrel.
He'll quickly examine the area
Mm-hmm.
and then knock the lantern in a way that will cause it to catch fire.
Oh, you're trying to, like, knock the oil out so that it, like splashes and, like, causes a fire?
Yeah, next to the people.
Okay,
closest,
sure.
You know,
So you're gonna
strategically-
like jump over there and kick it, kind of a thing.
Yeah. Well, he's just like looking. He's like, "Oh, that will this
Sure.
will catch fire.
Sure.
It'll set them on fire." So he's gonna use study.
Sure.
Uh,
I would say finesse, maybe, to kick the thing in the precise way.
Okay. You want me to reroll? Okay.
Yeah, I would say finesse, because you're trying to kick it. Well, study could go... I'll go with study. I'm fine with that. Sure. Study's fine.
I
It-
rolled a
it is
6 on
science.
the study roll.
6 and a 4? Okay, full success. So you kick it. It hits.
Yeah.
It hits the hard ground. It shatters. There is a sound of the oil igniting, and it starts to slowly build in fire. It doesn't like explode or anything like that, but it is burning, and it is burning now in that area, making it very hard to move through it and things of that variety.
Yeah.
Okay. With that, Reaper and Martin, I'm just going to say you guys are still moving, and I'll let you know when you've arrived at the combat. So, back to Carver.
Alrighty, I'm holding this rag here
Okay.
until he goes night night.
Okay, I do need you to roll
Like,
again.
you'll feel relaxed here in a second, bud. Just take it in.
Just breathe. Just breathe. Breathe.
Just let it happen.
It's night. Just imagine Carver on this guy like a bucking bronco. Just night.
Oh,
Ace,
the
Ace
6.
Ventura,
Yeah, exactly.
little Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
That's another 6.
Okay. At this point, the shock has now gone away from the rest of the 4 people that were sitting here, and they finally been like, wait, and now they're springing into action. I'm going to say that, because there's no specific time that rounds take, but I'm going to say all of that was happening so quick, and with the fire and everything like that, they finally sort of broken out of their trance of what the fuck is happening? They also honestly didn't expect Carver to actually be able to wrestle the big dude. So there is that. But you said another 6, okay? He has not been able to get it off of his mouth, and you can see in his body that he's starting to get a little more sluggish. And he's you hear him trying to say something, but because your hand is covering his mouth, you don't know what he's saying. The rest of the guys at this point now are springing into action towards their friend who seems to be under attack. The same guy who held the billy club at you, Blinder, comes at you with the billy club.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to
Study your way out of this.
yeah.
Soliloquy. You can wait your turn. I'll get there in a second.
He'll attempt to intimidate him.
Okay.
Because if we're gonna roll something, I might as well roll that. So I don't have any command. So I'm
Okay.
Get again.
Okay.
Then he hold the knife. Is like, don't make me. I'm a master.
Your knife got kicked out of your hand.
It's just a blade or 2, to be fair.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you get more than one knife. That's fine. So you go through, and you pull it out. Don't make me. Okay.
It's like the dinner knife.
Yeah.
Breakfast.
Yeah. It's like a steak knife.
It's like 3 and a 6. Was this a desperate situation?
No, this wasn't desperate, but
okay.
I mean it's
All right.
risky standard. But this was you have you're 0 unskilled.
Yeah.
So it's a 3.
It's 3.
Okay. So you're like, don't make me use it, and then the guy just smacks that knife out of your hand, just pap.
Damn it.
That sort of Zorro moment where he's just ha, he does all the moves, and then Zorro just goes blap and smacks it. That's exactly what that just was. Okay. So
it's a spoon.
yeah, exactly. So Carver, you have 2 people running at you now, and they try to grab your legs and are trying to pull you off of the big dude. So go ahead and roll.
What am I rolling?
You are rolling in the same way that you do in this game. There's no the NPCs don't necessarily roll against you in a sense, they don't roll to attack. It's basically you're rolling to continuing your action, and based on the number of people that are trying to affect you makes that roll harder, right? So now that there are 2 dudes trying to pull you off the guy, and you're struggling with the guy, you've gone from a risky standard to now a desperate standard action. Because these 2 dudes are trying to pull you off their friend while you're trying to hold on to him and knock him out, right? So go ahead and do that.
5.
Okay, mixed success. So you hold on, you're kicking at them and knocking them away as you're holding him. The guy's getting more and more sluggish, and at this point he just he's starting to go limp, Do you jump off of him or do you fall down with him?
I'll jump off of him as he starts going down.
Okay, so you get off of his back, catching yourself on your feet, and he just turns to you and he's like, "You have a nice bonnet," and then just hits the ground. Like an absolutely drunk out of his mind or something. And then just lands face first.
I'm immediately going to turn to one of the dudes that attacked me, and I'm going to be like, it's night time.
Oh my. Jesus Christ. Okay. That is, would you like to intimidate? Is that
Sure.
your goal? Okay, go ahead and roll
Sure.
intimidation.
Oh no, he's coming up with Sacco.
Okay. Okay,
Oh, is that sway?
it would be command.
Command?
Yeah. Or
I don't have
rec.
command.
Rec would work. Sway. I'll
Rec?
give you sway. Sure, sway.
Okay.
It's usually something that's like you're intense. Like you're being intense, right?
It's 4 and a 3.
Okay, mixed success. You're like, it's night time, and the one of the guys does not seem affected at all, and the other dude is just kind of like, what the fuck? Like, he has no idea what to do. At this point, Reaper and Martin come screaming around the corner, wagon in hand. Martin presumably just bull rushes one dude, I'm gonna presume, with the force of the wagon behind him.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Okay, would you like to roll that challenge then?
Yeah. Basically, it's like getting at the very end of the ride, using the wagon's inertia that I'm dragging behind me, and I'm not pushing, I'm dragging it.
Yeah.
And just kind of like put that to a stop, and then use that momentum to basically just carry an overhand right into the dude's face.
Okay. Sounds good.
A little bit of a skirmish roll here.
Yeah.
I got a 5.
Perfect. Mixed success. So you come in, bam, right across the face. You're not using your power or anything like that, right?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, so you just catch him right across the face, knocking the dude down. Like he kind of spins down and then catches himself on the ground. Bloody lip, probably broken nose at this point, just from your massive fist in his face. Reaper, what are you doing?
I'm going to how many are there? There's one that Martin just punched in the face. There's 2 at Carver's feet plus the one he
No. There's one big dude laying on the ground right now. There are 2 dudes standing in front of Carver. And there are 2 guys near Blinder right now.
Okay, I'm gonna go for
And then Martin just punched one of the guys near Blinder, basically.
Okay, I'm gonna punch the other guy.
Okay, cool.
You have a nice bonnet.
Exactly.
Ooh, a 6, a 5, and a 3.
Nice.
Oh,
You get
a
that
6, a 5, and a 3?
5 and a 3, yeah.
Very nice. A full success. You come in. You're just planning to punch him? You're tackling him? What are you thinking?
Oh no, I'm coming in and I'm gonna swing at his jaw and just try to maybe
Knock him out?
shatter it like shales. Yeah.
Okay,
knock
sure.
his ass out.
You catch him and just at that right angle, coming right up on his jaw, full force, full turn. Like you get the hips in on it, like you were taught appropriately, and you just snap him with all the force in your body. His head just and you hear the pop as the jaw dislocates, and then he just goes like he hits the ground, and he's still somewhat conscious, at least currently. But he's probably not going to be getting up anytime soon, at least. With that, we will return. What is Blinder doing? Because I believe I did Carver and then Martin and Reaper. Except Blinder.
Blinder's gonna turn. Oh, is the guy still in front of him, or did she knock out the guy who was?
There was 2 dudes near you. One dude seems like he's knocked out. One dude just hit the ground, and he's probably going to be knocked out very soon by Martin. With that 1-2 Martin punch. And then there are 2 dudes near Carver that are not far from you at all.
Okay, I'm gonna turn and I'm gonna go looking for the crates.
They are right behind where you guys are, still in the same spot that they were in.
Okay, I'm gonna grab one of the crates then,
Okay.
and I'm gonna basically start going towards the wagon.
Okay, the wagon's just on the other side of the whole kerfuffle with Martin and Reaper right next to it. They basically went the long way. You know, I was saying it was a big open area around the outsides. They went the long way around and then came in with the wagon.
Okay.
Okay, so with
he
that,
just picks up the crate and goes going and put it, running one of the crates over there, trying to be as careful as
I
possible.
need you to do a roll, though. I need you to do a roll.
Sure.
Like a finesse or something like that.
Yeah, I guess he'll use finesse.
Mhm.
It's all the same.
Well,
Unskilled.
basically what is happening is you grab a crate and you go start trying to take it to the wagon, and one of the dudes looks at you and like tries to grab the crate from you, like, no, what are you doing? You know, that sort of thing. And so you're basically like keeping the crate, like, no, fuck you.
1 and a 2, unskilled check.
He plucks the crate out of your hands. He's like, no, fuck you, man, and he takes it away from you. Reaper.
Can I punch the guy?
Yeah, we will come back around to you.
Can I just swing back? Like he just grabbed it from me, right?
Yeah.
Can I just kick him to just no finesse? I don't care if I hurt him. All
Sure.
I'm trying to do is just trying to take that crate and kick him backwards with a hard enough force that would break whatever's inside of it.
Oh, okay. Oh, you want to like kick the crate?
Yeah.
Oh, sure, yeah. Okay, go ahead, yeah.
He just looks at him with it like a stone cold, like 1,000-yard stare.
Mm-hmm. And then you just kick the crate.
Kicks it.
I'll let you do that because it's not like he doesn't expect you to kick the crate. Like he even sort of like lifts his leg like he thinks you're going to try and kick him, but he does not expect you to like high kick the crate. You knock it out of his hand. It goes through the air for a second and then slams on the ground, and a portion of it breaks open, and you see that there are some broken ceramic pieces inside that seem to be strange colors mixed with straw. Yeah.
Okay.
At this point, I need everyone to roll a resolve check.
Oh, shit.
Oh. I'm gonna die.
Say
Teacher.
Oops.
Oh, fuck.
Okay. We'll start with Reaper. Reaper, what'd you get?
I got a 6.
Okay, so you lose no stress, and you're like, even though you're uncomfortable, and I'll explain here what you're uncomfortable with, you're able to like, you're gonna be able to take an action, although not be like an aggressive action. I'll point that out here. Martin, what did you get?
I got a 2.
Okay. Blinder.
2 5s.
Okay. You will also be able to take action. I also believe that in this specific instance, you can spend do you have the armor thing? Don't
No,
you
I
have a
don't have-
special
nope.
armor?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think everybody has a special armor, don't they?
I have one that prevents me from supernatural stuff. But
Oh.
Yeah, I thought you could check mark that and not have to take the resistance roll.
No, that's an ability I haven't taken yet.
Oh, I see. Okay, my misunderstanding. And Carver, what'd you get?
I got double ones.
Oh, geez. Okay, so this is what happens.
Whoops.
Carver is going to turn tail and start running. Martin follows suit. All of the dudes that are still standing do the same thing and scatter away, leaving Reaper and Martin standing there as the jar breaks, and from it, this cloud, almost like a powder, was broken. Like, think of like ashes or something. As it breaks, it goes and plumes into a shape. And almost as though someone is like jumping out of water, there's these hands that outstretch, and you hear this scream, like a blood-curdling scream. And there's a shape created by what looks like a red powder mixed with ash, and it's moving through this strange shape. And it starts reaching out, and the first person that's nearby it is one of those guys, and it reaches out and puts its hand through the back of his throat, and literally you just see him go, and there's just blood coming out of his mouth, and then he falls over dead. And then it basically is just now reaching at people and screaming like it's on a rampage, basically. But it, like, the scream itself isn't anger, it's like fear. You can feel like it's afraid of something, but it's lashing out at everything around it. Martin.
Do I take any stress damage for this?
Yes. So the way it worked is you took stress equal to the difference between 6 and whatever your highest roll was. So if you
Right.
rolled a 2, you took 4 stress. Carver?
which completely filled my stress track +1.
Yeah, it just fills up. That just means you have no
Okay.
more stress you can spend.
Okay.
And Carver, did you have
Oh,
something?
that was the same question.
Yes. So
my stress track is fucking full.
yeah. So now your stress track is completely full. Okay. So Reaper and Blinder, the only 2 people who are able to act currently. What are you doing?
Grabbing the other crates
And filling up the cart.
and the other people, and and be like, come on, because he's probably.
Well, they're running
Sorry, what?
away. They're
Are they
running
running
away.
away?
Yeah,
Yes,
it
they're
seems like
running away.
Martin and Carver are like trying to back away from it.
Okay. So I'm just grabbing.
Get away from the big scary thing.
So it's up to us to load the cart.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm gonna take as many crates as I
Well,
can.
the thing is standing between you and the things, and it's lashing out at anything nearby. So that's what I'm trying to understand. Is like, how are you responding to this
I am going
ghost
to
or
look
whatever it is?
at Blinder and ask him, "What do we do now?"
I'm gonna. Can I attempt to? Basically gonna attempt to tune. And,
Okay.
And control it.
Okay.
Just reach my hand out.
Okay. In that moment before he does it, it reaches out and grabs one of the other guys by its leg and then like literally like rips it up, and its leg, you hear the snapping and breaking as it just tears him up and throws him, and you see him disappear into the darkness above and then comes screaming down on top of a pile like 20 feet away. Okay, so and this is when Blinder like does his thing.
Yeah. So he reaches out.
Mm-hmm.
You see his eyes go black,
Okay.
and basically I rolled 2 5s and a 4 for
Mm-hmm.
my tune
Mm-hmm.
to compel it,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm basically just going to like hold it in place, like just basically keep it from moving around.
Oh, so you're gonna just try and keep it back, kind of like
Yeah.
you're like trying to keep it back, like back away, kind of a thing. Okay.
Yeah. I have to spend stress to use my special ability, right?
Yes, you do.
Okay. That's one stress or 2?
I'm not sure. It is what was
I'll
it?
look it
Compel?
up.
Yeah.
You only spend stress on them if they say in the thing to spend stress.
I believe this one does require stress because it's a special thingo.
It
Super-
probably does.
Super special thingo.
Magic and all.
Oh, but keep in mind, compel is the thing that lets you summon one, and this one wasn't summoned by you. So what you're attempting to do is to try and attune and prevent it from affecting you.
Oh, okay. So it says
Yeah.
a nearby ghost to appear and obey the command.
Yes. And
Right,
so
so
this
basically
isn't one that you made to appear. But
I would
I'm
have-
allowing you to use your attune to try and prevent it from harming you and your friends.
Sure.
That would be the appropriate skill. Because that's what attune is used for. It's basically you connecting yourself to the ghost field and then, in a sense, trying to be like, back away, right?
I'm just gonna basically. I'm sitting here talking to it. Right. Basically, it's like we're not. No, not us. We're not the ones who've done this to you.
What did you roll?
2 5s and a 4.
Okay, so a mixed success. When you start saying that, you're like, we didn't do this to you. We didn't. You can see it like calms, and it's still screaming and like swiping into space, and then it sort of like calms itself, and you start to see that the pieces and fragments of the powder start to drift slowly down, like it's not as solid of a form as it once was, like it's slowly falling apart, and it looks at you for a second, like it had been looking down and screaming, and it like looks up at you for a second, and then the powder falls away, and you see like this ghostly reflection of a person, especially being attuned to the ghost field, and you see that it was this woman, and it looks like she's been stabbed to death or something. And it's one, like, there's one massive hole right where her heart should be, and it's like gaping, like her heart is missing or something. And she just looks at you and then points at your heart. And then as she does that, like in that moment when she finishes pointing out, she just disappears. And then you see the energy go like flying up into the air. And in that moment, you start hearing the bells of the Bellwether Crematorium ringing in your ears.
Okay. Grab the crates quickly.
Nah, I'm gonna start grabbing the crates really
Am I
fast.
able to move again?
You've been moving, you've been running away.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Yeah, you were moving away, like, get me away from here, you know what I mean? But there's a moment 20 or so seconds later where you feel that fear sort of leave you, and you're kind of standing there in the middle of the warehouse, having moved away from where you were, just like standing there like shocked, like where the fuck, what is going on, kind of a thing, right? As your senses sort of return to you, and you're no longer just overtaken by this fight or flight feeling. Same thing for you, Carver, as well.
Damn it, Blinder! Warn me when you're gonna do the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so Reaper and Blinder are hurriedly taking these soul jars into the wagon. Eventually,
and-
Martin and Carver, the other people who were here, do not come back. You see them sort of snap out of it too, but they just keep running. At this point, they've lost enough of their forces. 2 of their guys have completely died. Another guy is completely unconscious, and they just saw a fucking ghost attacking all of them. The other 2 that are remaining just split. And so finally, Martin and Carver regain their faculties. They come over to the wagon. They start helping you guys move everything. So with that, I just need one group action from you all, just to see how well we do here. The final piece of this puzzle, shall we say, to see how quickly you can finish this job.
Oh, quick etiquette thing. Carver probably would have referred to Blinder as Hobo Man instead, given that he was trying to maintain a cover.
Oh, did you say his name? I didn't even realize.
Yeah, I said Blinder.
Oh, sure. I'm gonna say that happened because already he had already established the devil's bargain that they know that it was him. So I was actually planning for that to be a part of it. So that's
My fault.
It's okay. It's all good. So it's even if you hadn't said it, even if we changed it, they're still gonna know his name. So there's really no point.
But it's just now you get
Yeah.
to say it was my fault.
There you go.
No, they saw his face. They know what he looks like. They know this guy, right? Anyways, okay. So one group challenge. This is going to be a physical challenge where you are basically moving these crates as fast as you can. Martin, yes?
Oh, I'm just dancing.
Oh, okay. I thought you were raising your hand. Okay. So everybody choose finesse if that's what you're using, or something of that variety. And yes, Reaper?
I've got wreck high.
I don't think wreck is the appropriate skill in this situation. Wreck would be like if you're just throwing boxes and letting them break. And after you saw what happened, I doubt you want to do that.
Oh
Can-
yeah, good point.
Can skirmish work?
Skirmish is
skirmish
more
is-
fighting. I would say this
But
is
it's
more like
footwork.
I'm gonna
Footwork,
say
man,
finesse.
negotiating-
I'm gonna say finesse or something of that variety. I'm sorry. This is like you quickly and efficiently trying to move. I would say like study would be okay, strangely, because it's like, you could do a banana line sort of thing. Like one of you is like, wait, you stand there and I'll stand here and we stand here, and then we just pass them, right? That sort of thing. So I would accept that sort of thing.
Because you already saw you reach your.
I had presumed. I mean, the idea of it's either your physical ability to move objects quickly and efficiently, so wreck doesn't make sense, and skirmish is more fighting skills, or your mental ability to understand how to potentially make this process move faster.
I mean,
So,
could
one
I
of those
use
two things.
command?
Sure.
To yell at people
see
to
that.
move faster?
Well, no, it's
Well, exactly,
directly-
to enact the plan that our smart person just came up with.
Yeah.
Pass him now. Move it faster.
Well, in a group challenge, you all need to use the same skill. So that's the point
well,
that I'm
never
trying to
mind.
make. Yeah, that's the point I'm trying to make here is that
Oh, I see,
it
I
needs
see.
to either all be like finesse or all be study or something like that.
I have a 1 in finesse.
Okay.
I got jack and shit, so
Okay. We'll do finesse.
we'll do finesse.
Okay, so who's going to be the champion?
I'll do it.
Reaper's the champion. Okay. I would say someone who still has some stress left would probably be the efficient choice. Okay,
I
so...
will-
Huh? What was that?
I will assist.
Well, it's a group action, so you're all rolling. You're all rolling, and then Reaper can spend stress if you fail to basically help you along. Okay, so everybody roll finesse. Okay, Reaper, go ahead.
I got a 6.
Nice, full success. Martin.
I got a 2.
Okay, so you have to spend 1 stress to let him pass. Blinder.
On an unskilled check, I rolled a 3 and a 6. That's 3.
Oh, so a 3. Okay, so you have to spend 1
That's
stress
why-
to help him.
That's why mine was a 2. Unskilled checks.
Carver.
6.
6, full success. Very nice. So the group will pass. You'll have to spend 2 stress to allow Blinder and Martin to pass as well.
You got it.
Perfect. So you all work in tandem, breaking down. Okay, you stand there, you stand there. You work it all out. You start moving the boxes along. Eventually, you get the wagon loaded with more or less all of the crates that you find there. You brought a big enough wagon. Having seen them now and saw the pile, you're like, maybe we need a bigger wagon or whatever the case may be. So you made it work, whether it was the wagon that you had made the plan for earlier and you added more space to it or whatever the case may be. You're able to fit all of the crates into the wagon. And now you are off.
Can we have covered it as well?
Sure, you grab one of the big canvas tarp things off, you wrap it over the top, you tie it down with ropes really quick, and out the door you go.
Yep.
I presume at this point you guys aren't heading directly back to the ship, but you are going to head somewhere nearby, yes?
Yes, but before we head out, I'm going to make sure that those that were injured and can't move are outside of the warehouse since the warehouse is being set on fire.
Oh, so you're going to leave the 2 dead dudes, but you're going to pick up the guy that's unconscious and drag him out? Okay, sure. So
Drag
you
him out and leave him on
throw him
the
on the
road.
back of the wagon, drag him out.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You set him down
know
like across the street, we'll say, so he doesn't get burned.
I'll help.
And I'll drag the other 2 bodies out. At least let their families get a fucking say goodbye.
Okay. So at this point,
That's a horrible way to go.
at this point, there is only one more test that I need. I need a prowl test or a sway test or something of that variety to blend into the crowd. Because as you leave, as you're leaving the warehouse, you hear the cawing of crows. There's a ringing of bells. And you see men or people, you're not sure what gender they are, in bronze masks,
Creepy
walking
masks.
down the way towards the space. You can see them off far in the distance, but they are coming towards you.
I have some
I have
sway.
this shit covered.
I have sway if the rest of you have sway.
I have sway. I have 2.
I have
You could say that anyone that doesn't wish to participate in the challenge could hide then inside the wagon.
I will hide inside the wagon.
Okay, so I will allow those without sway to use prowl then inside the wagon. Carver will use sway.
Yes.
Okay, so go ahead and roll, everybody.
So Martin will also use sway
Okay.
because he's better at that than being sneaky.
Yep.
Hey.
Basically, by the way, so that you guys understand, is if you had not succeeded as well as you did in that other group challenge, they would have arrived while you were still loading it. But because you did so well, you basically had a buffer of time to be able to like disappear and not be blamed for the murder, right?
Nice.
5, 4, and 2.
5, 4, and 2.
I'll use sway.
Sway. Okay.
So I will hide in the
Sure. Yeah.
4 and 1.
Okay. Mixed success. Perfect. Mixed success. Martin, what was yours?
4.
Mixed success. And Reaper.
5.
Beautiful. You all pass. You're all just normal dock workers taking a normal package to its normal place. And you walk by the wardens, who are, as I said, a ways away. And eventually you cross paths, but they don't seem any wiser to you or what's going on, and they just keep walking past you, not even paying attention. You disappear into the night, the darkness of Crow's Foot, finding yourself back at the inn, and that is the end of that mission. So